Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Brothers and sisters, we begin in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Indeed, all praises are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His peace and blessings upon our noble messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Azhar Zaidi. I have been with Dar Islam for over 30 years, and I have the honor of presenting to you the Hajj logistics for those who are in Kidana towers. Please note that this is being recorded, and the recording will be made available as soon as possible, perhaps tomorrow. Please note that I have disabled the Q&A because people have tendency to start asking questions even before the presentation is over. I guarantee you most of your questions will be answered during the course of the presentation. I understand that Brother Ahmed has sent out a Slido Q&A where he will take your questions, synthesize it, clean it up for me to answer at the end, and I will also open up the Q&A at the end of the presentation should you have further questions. I thank you for taking the time for joining this webinar. I am hopeful that you will learn and it'll help you to prepare for this journey. I have a presentation that covers quite a bit, and after that I'll have the Q&A. So let me start with the presentation itself. So this presentation covers Hajj logistics specifically for those who have a stay in Kidana al-Wadi towers in Mena. It does not cover the logistics for those in Majd al-Kabsh camp or those who are in Al-Mu'assim camp. So it's important that you attend the right webinar. If you are in any other camp, any other place in Mena other than Kidana al-Wadi towers, then you have joined the wrong webinar. You may benefit from it, but may also confuse you. So it's better to actually have the webinar that is specific to your camp. I had two yesterday, one for Majd al-Kabs, one for Al-Mu'assim. And if you didn't attend that, the recording will be made available on Monday, inshallah. This covers the administrative and logistical aspects of the Hajj journey, starting from pre-departure planning through to the end of Hajj. Fairly extensive. And when I do open up the Q&A, please do keep your questions to the logistical aspects of the journey and not the fiqh aspect, because the fiqh sessions are separate and you'll have the opportunity to ask the Sheikh your fiqh questions. It is important to note that the responsibility for delivering Hajj services to the pilgrims is owned by Saudi Hajj and Umrah Company. And that is, they are a Saudi Hajj service provider. And the services include all the airline arrangements, all accommodations in the kingdom, all transportation, be it by bus, be it by train, services in the camps during the Manasik of Hajj, and much more. What is our role as Dar Islam? We're working with them in a cooperative manner and in a supporting role to deliver the services to you, our Hujjaj. So this is a relationship we have with the Hajj service provider, but the Ministry of Hajj holds them responsible and they own providing the services. This is necessary for us to put in, and that is this webinar is for informational purposes only. There are many elements that are beyond our control. So we're presenting to you our plan. This may change because of other reasons, because of things outside of our control. It could be traffic, it could be new regulation, it could be weather, it could be anything. So bear that in mind, that we're used to in North America about specifics and timings. Over there, the specifics and timings become relative, not accurately, but relative, and it may change. And it may change without notice. Just bear that in mind. We will do our best to stick to the plan, but should there be changes, our job will be that you are communicated with about what the changes are. The topics are extensive. I'll start with important considerations, things you should consider. Pilgrims items checklist. This I have divided by category. This is easier to remember. Your departure from home, your in-transit travel, your arrival in Jeddah. That is to say, even if you're in Makkah first or a Medina first program, it pertains to what happens when you arrive in Jeddah, even if you're going to Medina. Your arrival in Medina, your stay in Medina, your arrival and stay in Makkah, your arrival and stay in Kidana Towers, and of course, about Kidana Wadi Al Towers itself, and from there going to Arafat, Muzdalifa, and back to Mena again, about Tawaaf Al-Ifadah, the plan for that, Rami Jamarat, and consideration for Rami Jamarat, end of Hajj, and in the end, reminders. So these are the extensive topics we have. Let's start with important considerations. Number one, vaccination requirements. Everyone should be vaccinated against meningitis. And they require you to have this vaccination completed at least 10 days prior to your arrival in Saudi Arabia. Even if you had this vaccine done a year ago, it's still valid. 2 years ago, it's still valid. Because the vaccine is valid for up to 3 years for certain type of vaccine and up to 5 years for other types of vaccine. So what they need to see is a proof of vaccination. Something that says you were vaccinated on this date and this was the vaccine, and something that is authentic. They need you to carry that with you. It may be that when you get to the airport, before they issue the boarding card, they might want to see your vaccination certificate, that you're vaccinated against meningitis. Or if they don't do it at the airport here, they may do it when you land either in Jeddah or Medina. So it's important that every single person is vaccinated against meningitis and carries proof of vaccination. And if you're 65 years and older, then you also need a second one, which is vaccination against COVID-19. And that could be something that was done 3 years ago. That is perfectly fine. So long as you have a vaccination, proof of vaccination for COVID-19, against COVID-19, even if it's 3 years ago, just take that with you. That is only applicable to those 65 years of age or older. Okay, make so you dig out those certificates and carry it with you. Preparing last will as testament. This is something that has been asked of us many times, almost every year. I believe there was a webinar held on this, and you can find the recording of it, that you consult your state or provincial lawyer and prepare your last will and testament and finalize it as early as possible before travel. Somebody had asked me in a previous webinar, is this mandatory? It's not mandatory, but it's something for you to consider to do before you travel. Communication during Hajj is of paramount importance. So for that, you need to carry a smartphone with you to Saudi Arabia. And in that smartphone, you must have WhatsApp for messaging. Our main means of communication will be away from Telegram, which will be shut down next week, perhaps Tuesday, and will be on WhatsApp. Everybody will be invited to join their own respective WhatsApp group. So we have all those group leaders that introduced themselves to you in the previous sessions that you had with the different program managers. Then they will have their own WhatsApp group. They will be on it and you will be on it. However, what we want you to do is change your WhatsApp profile to display your first and last name. Just a phone number showing up on WhatsApp doesn't help us identify who you are, because we're trying to make sure that we're getting the right person into the right WhatsApp group. So please do that. Go to your WhatsApp profile, put in your first and last name. So when you do accept that invitation, then we will know who has joined the WhatsApp group. It's important for us that we know we have the right person in the right group. So this WhatsApp invitation will probably go out tomorrow or Tuesday. And please, when it does, do join it. We also want you to download the Nusuk app, not to be confused with Nusuk, the online portal through which people have registered and booked for Hajj. This is different. This is an app. You can find it on Android or Apple platforms and download it on your phone. You have to register in Nusuk using your visa number and your passport number and your email address. And you might need this Nusuk app to create permit for praying in the Rauda in Medina. So please download that app. The last thing that I want to mention is that, it is annoying when you're in the Haram in Medina or Mecca and the phone rings. A lot of people bring in their phones. Almost everybody has a phone, and they forget to turn it off and put it into a silent mode. And so do not disturb others, and be aware, and you turn off your phone or put it in silent mode when you go for prayers. Now, it is important that you have connection. You have a data plan. Don't just rely on using the phone and communicating when you're in the Wi-Fi zone. I want to just use the Wi-Fi. We need you to be able to communicate outside the Wi-Fi zone. That is, you're in Mena and Arafat and Muzdalifa, there might not be any. There's no Wi-Fi in Muzdalifa. There's no Wi-Fi in Arafat. There's no Wi-Fi in the Haramain. So when you're outside, you need to be able to connect. And for that, you have two choices. Either you have an international data plan and voice plan from your home country, or you purchase a Saudi SIM card in Saudi Arabia. Either option is required. One of those options is required. If you choose to use your own voice and data plan from your home country, you're fine. You don't have to purchase Saudi SIM card. That number is good enough. If you want to purchase a Saudi SIM card, you have to do it in person because they want your biometrics. And they want your fingerprint, probably an index fingerprint, and they want you to bring with you a copy of your visa, because they tie your passport number or visa to the actual SIM being issued. So they know who has been given the SIM. It's important that you carry that copy of your visa. Now, as far as the SIM package is concerned, they're relatively cheap. You can get a 15 gig plan from one of those carriers for less than $20. So it's a good idea to actually have that. Now, if you do want to use the Saudi SIM, your phone cannot be, tied to a particular carrier. If you're using T-Mobile or Telus or Bell Mobility or any of those carriers, make sure that SIM is not tied to that carrier only. Most of the new phones in the last few years are unlocked, but make sure yours is as well, because you cannot unlock it over there. Communication during Hajj, as far as hotels are concerned, you can use Wi-Fi. It's available at no charge. Your guide will help you how to get on that Wi-Fi. Usability and reliability is dependent on available bandwidth, and this typically happens in peak time. So generally, things like when prayers are over, everybody gets on the phone, and you might have this issue with network not being available for a few minutes until things settle down. But you can use Wi-Fi for that purpose. But if you are planning to use WhatsApp calling somebody live on WhatsApp as you do here, that is restricted in Saudi Arabia. You cannot call based on WhatsApp. You have to use a third-party app like an IMO or FaceTime with Wi-Fi to make that call. But WhatsApp calling does not work. WhatsApp video will work if you want to record a video. You can take a picture. You can say voice notes. Any of that will work, but not live calls. So just bear that in mind if you had that in plan. But main thing is that you should have a data plan that works outside of Wi-Fi zone. Now, Hajj is going to fall in the summer months, and we went through that last year. It was extremely hot. You probably heard about the people that had heat strokes, that one day during the Manasik of Hajj, when the temperature exceeded 50 degrees, it was 54 degrees Celsius that day. In Arafat last year, it was 48 degrees Celsius. And so people were complaining the AC is not working. Well, the AC was working full blast, but it was hot. The inside temperature was about 36 degrees. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this so you can prepare for it. One of the things that's required, because you're constantly perspiring, is that you actually rehydrate yourself. And it's not just simply replacing the perspiration with drinking water. Consider taking some electrolyte powders, electrolyte enhanced tablets that you can put in your bottle of water and sip on it. So you're replacing the electrolytes being lost through perspiration as well as the liquid being lost through perspiration. This is something that is typically used not in the hotels in Mecca and Medina, not in air-conditioned buildings, but it's typically used in places like Arafat, in travel to Muzdalifa, in Muzdalifa itself. So this is where you will use it. You will not use it all the time, but when you do perspire, if you're extensively outside, then make sure that you are aware, because you sometimes are not aware that you are losing that liquid until you don't feel well. And it's important that you carry this with you. People also carry sometimes in a cold pack. I don't really carry that, but I put that in there. Some people will take that to squeeze it and to start the cold pack process, only for them to use it on their neck, on their face. But the best thing that people normally use, they use a wet towel, a small towel like the athletes use. You just dip it in cold water, squeeze it, and use that to wipe your face and your neck so that you feel refreshed. And that's the reason for mentioning this. You'll again use it only during the Manasik of Hajj and Arafat and Muzdalifa, especially if you're standing outdoors in Arafat, for example, you're not indoors and you're perspiring, you may want to use something like that. Remember, the temperature is anywhere from 110 to 116 Fahrenheit or 43 to 45 Celsius. That's what we experienced last year, except for that one day when it peaked, 2 days when it peaked. Avoid prolonged exposure to the sun. There's no need for you to be in the sun. It's not required for you to be in the sun, but if you are going to be in the sun, try to minimize as much as possible. If you are sensitive to sunlight, it's okay to use a perfume-free sunscreen lotion. It's okay in Ihram to use a sunscreen lotion that is perfume-free. Pace yourself. Take plenty of rest. People who are going for the first time are very emotional, and so they want to spend as much time in the haram. They're there for tahajjud. They're there till fajr. After breakfast, they barely get a couple hours of sleep. They're there for every prayer. So what happens with that energy that you put in the beginning, that after 3 days, it affects your immune system and you get tired and then you get sick. Your objective is that you're absolutely, completely fresh for the 5 days of Hajj, the Manasik of Hajj, and specifically on the day of Arafat. You know your health, you know your body, you know your limitations, so pace yourself. Consider taking daily vitamin supplements. That would help boost your immune system and also give you energy. I do ask people to take energy bars for use during Manasik. People may not want to eat a full meal, even though they'll be giving you full meals. They just want to just take some energy bars, especially when you're in Arafat going to Muzdalifa, sitting in the bus or in Muzdalifa under the open sky. You may want to use the energy bars rather than a full meal to actually give you some energy. Wear light clothes. The type of clothes that normally I use, I would suggest, would be a thobe, something that the Saudis wear, that white flowing gown that the men wear, and shalwar kameez that some people will wear. Or if you're wearing pants, make sure it breathes. It's baggy pants made of cotton. For the women, shalwar kameez or baggy pants, if they are going to wear an abaya on top of their dress, then the dress can be made of very light material, because they're not going to remove their abaya until they're in the room in the presence of other women. So it can be very light material because they're wearing 2 clothes on top of it because it's hot. People have asked me, what do I take with me? I take one pair, the trouser and the shirt that I wear in the aircraft. I have another set to come home in my pants and shirt. The rest of the time when I'm in Saudi Arabia, I have thobe and pajamas and the undergarment associated with that. That's all I wear when I'm over there. As such, it's so comfortable, it's light, it's flowing. And of course, people will say, what about laundry services? You have laundry services in the hotels, but you don't have laundry services elsewhere. You don't have laundry services in Mena and Arafat, Muzdalifa. So if you happen to be in the hotel, you can. What I do is basically I have to get rid of the perspiration. I'll take detergent powder from one of those department stores like the Bin Dawood and lightly wash it in the bathroom and just hang it there. It will dry within a couple of hours. That's the kind of a washing I'm talking about. Are there washing machines in Kidana towers? I'm told there is, but I have no idea what the capacity is, that if everybody wants to use it, will there be a big lineup? So I'm not counting on it, but they're saying they have provided that. And Allah knows best as to how much the capacity will be. Don't purchase things from outside. If you're purchasing it outside, you have to make sure it's hygienic. So nothing being sold outside, maybe in a food court, yes. But other than that, I think they're giving you nice meals while you're there. Those requiring wheelchair, for us, wheelchair comes in 4 categories. One is we need wheelchair during air travel. While we may request it on your behalf with the airline, we don't get a positive confirmation back that they have actually put that request in your file. So don't rely on that. The best thing I ask people to do is when you receive your ticket, you call the airline and you tell them, this is my ticket number, not the PNR number. This is my ticket number. I want to put in a wheelchair request, that there'll be a wheelchair available at the departing airport, at the transit airport, and the arriving airport. If they don't do that, then you do that at the airport and make sure it's in your file that there's a wheelchair request put in place. so that you have wheelchair available at the airports. The second one is for those who cannot walk for Tawaaf and Sa'i, cannot walk for Umrah, and they need, for example, someone who can push them in a wheelchair. Well, there are official people that have wheelchairs. You just have to arrange with them to take this person for Umrah. And what you do is when you come downstairs from your hotel or you come down with your guide, these people are just outside the hotel. You simply negotiate with them the price, and the most important thing is the drop-off place. Because once they take off in that wheelchair, you cannot follow them. They don't allow wheelchairs in the courtyard of the haram, in the mataf. So the group who will be in the courtyard of the mataf, the person in the wheelchair will be in the first or second floor. And that person is pretty quick in terms of paces that he keeps up with. And so you negotiate where the person will be dropped off, and you negotiate the price and make sure the money is with the person who's getting the service, and he or she will pay him at the end of the service. So you have to carry some extra cash for it. I estimate that it'll be about $120 to $150 per usage. And you think about how many usage you'll have if you're dependent on using wheelchair services. You'll have one for Umrah, you'll have one for Tawaaf Al-Ifadah, and you'll have one for Tawaaf Al-Wada. So you'll have to carry that much cash associated with that. They do provide a service using golf cart, and that is at the very roof, at the top of the haram. And you have to get there to be able to book it. And what they have is they have a multi-passenger golf carts, and they have plenty of them. And they take you around on the roof of the haram for your tawaf. And they also have the same thing available for sa'i, and it's about 100 riyals per person, payable in cash. The fourth option is I have a family member who will push me. So you have a person going with you who will push you in the wheelchair. And so for that, when you arrive there, you go and purchase a wheelchair available in the pharmacies. Approximate cost about $100. Make your ID on it. Just put some sort of an identification on that wheelchair. And by the way, when you are in the Manasik of Hajj, when you are, let's say, in the camps, or even if it's a prefabricated structure in Arafat, for example, you may not be able to keep the wheelchair inside. You have to keep it outside, in which case, if it's outside, what I suggest is take a bicycle lock, a small bicycle lock, and you lock it up, because if the wheelchair is sitting outside, somebody is likely to take it. And so make sure it's locked up so you have it for your use. And at the end of use, you can donate it for benefit of others after you're gone. Electrical power, Saudi Arabia has 220 volts. And they have a different type of plug that goes into the wall outlet. The type of plugs you will see are the ones that's shown on the left side. Are the 2 round pins or the 3 flat pins like the UK style. So you need an adapter, a universal adapter, or an adapter that allows the outlet that goes into their wall outlet, the plugs, and in the back of it, you can plug in your device. But make sure your device can handle 220 volts. Either it has already a transformer built into it that reduces it down to the level the device can handle. So universal devices like the cell phone, mobile phone, smartphones, iPads, laptops, they all work worldwide, and they have the adapter, that the transformer that actually changes the current required for it. But if you're taking any other electronic device, read it carefully that it can actually operate under 220 volts. Now, please take power bank. And the reason I'm saying it is because the number of outlets may not be there. It may be there in Kidana Towers, but not be there in Arafat and Muzdalifa, for example. So what you do, because those are temporary structures, you stay in Arafat just for a day. So get yourself a 20,000 milliamp power bank. Make sure it's fully charged before you go in. So you're not relying on using 1 or 2 or 3 outlets that are available. You can go in and use your power bank to charge your phone. It'll give you at least 2 or 3 charges while you're there. So at least you have the charge in your phone. Regarding the luggage, and what you will need is a suitcase, a standard suitcase that you normally take when you travel. And if you want to know what dimension it is, I would suggest that whichever airline your ticket is from, go to their website, you can get the dimension. But generally, in an economy class, the weight of the suitcase is about 50 pounds or 23 kilos. In business class, I believe it's 32 kilos or 72 pounds. but so economy class is 23 kilos. You'll also need a roll-on bag for use during Manasik of Hajj. And you need a backpack to even lighten your burden. The roll-on bag is when you're ready to go to Kidana Towers. Your suitcase will not go to Kidana Towers. There is not enough capacity in Kidana Towers to hold the suitcases. So when you're ready to go, all the stuff you need for those 5 days of Hajj will be in your roll-on bag. And when you're going further from Mena to Arafat in Ihram and coming back the next day in Ihram, you don't need any change of clothes. So you travel even lighter by leaving your roll-on bag in Kidana Towers and just taking a backpack to go to Arafat and Muzdalifa and return. So that's the 3 elements, the things that you need as such. We'll talk a little bit more later on about exactly when the packing happens for your manasik. Now, as far as checklist is concerned, I've categorized it, so it's easier to remember. In the category of travel documents, make sure you have a valid passport, and please, brothers and sisters, do keep a copy of it, a nice copy of it. You can say I have a soft copy, that's fine, but also keep a hard copy. This is only just in case, God forbid, you lose your passport. At least we can produce the copy in your respective country's consulate so they can give you the paperwork for you to return home. It's stressful enough as it is if you lose the passport, God forbid. So at least have this precautionary thing, which is to actually make a copy of your passport. You also make a copy of your Hajj visa. Remember, you have to show the Hajj visa when you have to go get your mobile phone. So a SIM over there. So get a copy of it and keep it with you. If any one of you is traveling on, other than passport, a residency card, shows your residence of that country, green card for the United States, a permanent resident card for Canada or for Australia, make sure you take that with you because you will need it only when you're returning back. No one in Saudi Arabia at immigration and passport control will ask for your green card or residence card. It is only going to be used when you're back at the airport, at the check-in counter for your return trip. They want to see that you can return back to that country, what type of a visa you have, and that's when you show it. So you keep that, but also make a copy of it. You take it with you. Airline ticket, read your airline ticket. Make sure you're aware of the flight timings. Make sure you're aware of the transit timing. And the other documents you need to take with you is proof of vaccination. Everybody takes a meningitis immunization proof, and those 65 and above also take the COVID-19 vaccine. That covers your essential documents. Okay? Cash. People ask me, what cash do I need to take? Well, I think with all the meals and transportation being provided, $500 is ample enough. I don't think you'll even spend that much. That does not include gifts. If you're going to purchase gifts, of course, you need to take accordingly. But if you are going to also use that wheelchair services that I mentioned earlier for Tawaaf and Sa'i, then you need to carry extra cash for that. Okay? But $500 just for incidental is more than enough, not including gift. Now, where do you cash that money? You can go to money changers there and they will cash it for you. But when you do that, take relatively new looking bill. Don't take the one that is crumpled or torn on the side or has writing on it. They don't accept those. And take large denomination only because if you give them a $100 US bill and a $50 US bill, they will give you a lower exchange rate for the $50 bill. So don't take 5s and 10s, right? You can take euros, you can take British pound sterling, you can take Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, US dollar, but the US dollar is readily acceptable. Others are also, but at market rate. US dollar is fixed. $1 is equal to 3.75 reals officially, but what you get with the exchangers is about 3.70. But if you took a $50 bill, they'll give you less. So that's what I meant by taking the large bill that is not mint condition, but good condition. If you have credit cards, they're accepted in major stores. If you have a debit card, there are ATMs available near the hotels in both Haramain. There might be a premium charge above the exchange rate for the use of the ATM, but at least you'll have cash available. That's also available there. If you are in a program that's going to Makkah first, it's only for those who are going to Makkah first. You also need to carry this with you, which is your ihram, compliments of Dar es Salaam and Saudi Hajj and Umrah Company. And that is the ihram garment should have already been received by you by now. And there is for the men specific requirements for footwear. So you actually take that footwear. You might wear shoes in the aircraft, but when you change into the ihram garment, you have to wear that appropriate footwear. And a belt to tie the ihram, if you're one of those that requires a belt to tie the ihram, you can put that belt on. Or if you're one of those that can go without the belt, there are ways of putting ihram on. You don't need a belt and it's very solid, then you don't need the belt at all. What kind of a belt should I use? Any belt. If you want to use the belt that you use for tying your pants together, that is fine. It has stitches on it, doesn't matter. You can use that in the state of ihram. Your slippers has stitches on it, doesn't matter. It's perfectly okay to use in the state of ihram. So what is not required for the state of ihram is that the two pieces of white cloth is not sewn. It does not resemble a sewn garment, and that's what's required. But stitches on the sandals, wearing a watch, having a belt with stitches on it, or taking the string bag that has stitches on it, you're going to put your shoe in it while you're making your tawaf, that's perfectly fine in the state of ihram. Now, for those who are going to start in Medina, you will not have the ihram with you, because then no point in giving you the ihram here, only for you to take it over there. So we're going to give you the ihram, inshallah, in Medina. Okay, so this is one item you should have. Let's talk about the footwear. For the women, there is no specific requirement for the type of footwear she wears. There are no restrictions. She can wear whatever is comfortable and suitable. A sneaker, a shoe, sandal, whatever she wants to wear. There's no specific requirement for her footwear. But if she's going to be bare feet, it's preferable to cover the feet than being in bare feet. But other than that, there's no specific requirements. For the men, there's specific requirement. And you can ask specific questions to your sheikh in the fiqh session. And that is the minimum requirement is that your actual ankle and heel must be exposed. Now, according to the Hanafi madhab, you must also have some of your cuneiform bone, which is the bone on the top part of your foot, also to be exposed. And that means those slippers and sandal pictures that I've shown you, that will be helping in both sides, right? And that's all you need. Those who have issues wearing any of these because of their medical conditions, and they'll have to wear shoes, you have specific requirements, specific medical conditions, you may do so, but do consult with the sheikh regarding your requirement and whether or not you have to pay a fidya for it or not. It does not mean that you have to offer a sacrifice. Just consult with your sheikh to get a better understanding of it, and you also feel comfortable doing it. Personal needs, toothpaste, toothbrush, miswak. Toothpaste has a scent to it that is not considered perfume. You can actually use it. I have a tendency, it's personally me, have a tendency to take unscented soap. One of the biggest source of people getting sick in that high-paced environment, imagine this, it's dust and pollution outside because of the number of people. You're close with each other, and you have hot weather outside, you come into air conditioning inside. It actually has, you're not used to that, so it actually has an impact on you. And one of the things people get sick by is the frequent touching of their hand on their face. You don't even realize that how many times you touch your face with your hand. So hand washing regularly. When I am going to be in ihram, I always take this unscented soap with me. I'll buy a Dove unscented from Walmart, for example. And if the bar is too big, I'll cut it in half and get a soap dish from a dollar store, and I'll take that with me. Even though I believe in Kidana, Al-Wadi towers, they will give you liquid soap in the bathrooms that is not scented on the first day, but when you come back from Arafat, it might be changed into scented as such. I don't rely on that. So when I'm in Arafat, I have to wash my hands. I'll take my soap baths and I'll just wash my hands. I can wash it in Muzdalifa. I'll wash it frequently. I have a habit of washing my hands every time I leave the room and come back, just so that it's clean. So that's something that I had suggested that you may want to consider taking with you. Anything else? Nail clippers, small scissor, hair comb, what you need, you can take with you. I also tend to take Kleenex, a couple of packets of Kleenex for use in Arafat and Muzdalifa and Mena. And I don't need it in the hotel rooms because they have those boxes in the room, so that's not an issue. It's only for that trip. And of course, I mentioned light cotton clothing for hot weather. Right? When you're away, it's like going on a camping trip, right? Even though you might be in Kidana Towers, but the belongings that you take with you is like going on a camping trip. So your belongings will be in your carry-on bag. The type of roll-on bag that goes in the overhead bin of your aircraft in the cabin. A backpack to make it even lighter for when you travel further from Mena to Arafat and Muzdalifa. Sunglasses is pretty bright, especially in the haram with those white tiles. People have difficulty. If you're one of those that wants to wear sunglasses, go ahead. If you get one with the neck strap, it's even better. In case it falls, it doesn't break. If you have prescription glasses that you cannot be without, then consider taking a spare one. A prayer mat, I think they will give you. We're waiting to see what complimentary items will be given by the service providers. They all have different things they're going to give. Once we find out, we'll let you know. So prayer mat, you don't really have to take it from here to see what they give you complimentary. And then you can decide on the prayer mat. And if you do take it, it has to be something very light. The small Quran, if you're one of those that has to have a physical Quran, then take a physical Quran. If you're one of those that can read the Quran on your mobile phone, then that's sufficient for you. And the reason for me mentioning is because this is the time for those few days that you engage in the dhikr. When you have spare time between salah, a lot of people will be chit-chatting, and you try to avoid that. What you want to do is engage in dhikr. You can make it an objective and a goal that says, as soon as I step out of the house, I'll start the Quran, and in those 10 days or 14 days, I'll finish the Quran. So every moment you get, you're reading the Quran. So you engage constantly in dhikr, right? Health and medical kit, I have listed this only as a guidance because there is going to be a medical guidance webinar. One was held already. I think one is today, I believe. Make sure you are going to attend that. It's going to be given by our expert emergency room physicians who have been with us for a number of years. Basically, most of the over-the-counter medicines are available in the pharmacy. But what people tell you is that, well, I don't have time to go to the pharmacy. I don't have the time to do shopping, in which case some of the things that I've listed here might be something that may apply to you or may not apply to you. If you're prone to air sickness, consider taking Gravol, Tylenol, Advil, Motrin, whatever suits you for your headaches. If you get one of those things, take that. Vaseline, petroleum jelly is really intended for men because men sometimes when they're in ihram, the inner thighs rub against each other and it gets chaffed and becomes painful. So what they do is they actually put on the ihram and they'll put some Vaseline, which is perfume free, on the inner thighs so they don't go through that painful process. Diarrhea medication, just in case. It doesn't require it, but just in case. Face mask is good to have. Take some face mask with you. And if you're going to take a hand sanitizer, make sure it's perfume free so you can actually use it during, when you're in Arafat and Muzdalifa, you're touching this, touching that, you're getting on the bus, you can use a hand sanitizer, but just make sure it's perfume free. And most importantly, those rehydration tablets or drinks, or more importantly, the powder that you can put into the water to actually get your electrolytes up, inshallah. If you're on any prescription medicines for high blood pressure, for cholesterol, for anything that you take regularly, make sure you take sufficient quantity for the entire trip. I have a pill box, one of those weekly pill box slots for each day of the week. What I do is I put 2 days worth of medicine in each slot. So that one pill box gives me 2 weeks worth. So this is something that you consider taking with you as such. And you always take your meds in your carry-on. Never put your meds in the checked luggage. God forbid if the checked luggage is misplaced and it'll show up 2 or 3 days later, at least you have your meds with you, always in your carry-on. If you have any of these conditions like diabetes, asthma, make sure you consult with your physician, let them know, let her or him know that you have these conditions and seek their advice. If you're allergic to specific drugs that we should know of, then let us know that. Write it on a piece of paper, inform your guide, or wear a medical alert bracelet so that we're aware that there's something that you're allergic to or have medical condition. So it's important for us to know that ahead of time. So make sure you have that handy to be able to describe that. And please attend the medical guidance webinar, and the one that you missed on April 26th, you can watch the recording of that. Let me now go through the logistical aspects of your trip. So when you're at the airport, be there early. I know people have asked for seat. What seat can I get? Can I get it upgraded? It really is not up to us. We can send them the request, but we can't actually go into the system and assign seats. When we send them the request, there is no positive confirmation coming back. So we don't know it's been done or not done. And when you have a group reservation, I have a group reservation of 50 seats. They can't tell that this is husband and wife or they are related and therefore they should be seated together. They will issue the tickets and the seats are assigned generally by the airport staff 24 hours before your flight. So if you want to then call them and say, I want to upgrade my seat, you can do that. Sometimes they will say, I'm sorry, we can't do it. It's a group reservation. Some of them will accept it. So it depends on the airline. Not all of them are the same. In which case, you have to go to the airport early before the boarding cards are issued for the people on that flight. If you're one of those that show up 4 hours before flight, 4.5 hours before flight, you can make sure that you're traveling with your family, that they are seated together. If the agent says, sorry, sir, we can't do anything, do it in the aircraft, go speak to a supervisor and get that done. But if you show up 2 hours before flight, half the boarding cards or more are issued, then you have less choices if that's the issue that you get with seats, okay? Also, make sure you have the boarding cards to your final destination. What that means is that if I'm traveling on Turkish Airlines, obviously I'll go to Istanbul and I'll change aircraft. So I'll have 2 boarding cards, and that is one to Istanbul and the other one from Istanbul onwards to Medina or Jeddah. Similarly, if I'm going in Qatar Airways, I will change aircraft in Doha, and I will change aircraft in Dubai for Emirates and Abu Dhabi for Etihad. Make sure you have both the boarding cards when you go in there. Okay? And your luggage should be checked to your final destination. Now, this last part is important. And this has to do with those who are traveling within their home country on a domestic flight to their home country's international gateway. Right? So they are going to, I'm going to give you an example, best to explain it with an example. If I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I'll take a Delta Airlines to JFK, and from there I'll board my Turkish Airlines flight to Saudi Arabia. I go to my Columbus, Ohio check-in counter with Delta Airlines, and they tell me, sir, we can put this luggage all the way through to Jeddah. And you say, well, that's great. I don't have to handle JFK. I actually would refuse that, because now you're relying the Delta handover to Turkish. It has not worked in some cases. And the reason being is that when you land in Jeddah and you can't find your luggage and you file a lost baggage claim, they give you a receipt. But every time you go to the airline, they will tell you it's not in our system because they never ever received it. That handover didn't happen at JFK. So what happens to the luggage? It just sits in JFK unless some poor soul finds it and sees what can be done with it as such. But you are without luggage, just one small thing, and it becomes very stressful for your entire Hajj trip. So the best thing to do in the example that I've given you, that I would check in with Delta Airlines to claim the luggage at JFK. I will grab that luggage at JFK, and now when I go to Turkish airline counter, I know I have given it to that international carrier for travel all over to Saudi Arabia. I have their baggage receipt. They are responsible for it. That little bit of extra work takes away that stress that may happen. So that's what I meant by this. Do not check your luggage in the domestic flight all the way through to Saudi Arabia. Just reclaim it in international port of departure. And then when you're with the international port departure, then you can check it through all the way to Saudi Arabia. Now, of course, if you're departing for Hajj and you're in a Makkah first program, it is required of you to be in ihram before you cross the miqat. And the miqat will happen in the air. So what do? You physically prepare for ihram from home, which is trimming nails, removing unwanted hair, and making ghusl. And ensure you have your ihram and accessories, the belt or the slippers, with you in your carry-on bag to change into at the transit airport. So if I'm going in Qatar Airways, it'll be Doha. If I'm going in Turkish Airlines, it'll be Istanbul, etc. For the women, they do their preparation at home, but whatever garment they're wearing from home, they will enter into ihram in that very garment. They will not have the chance to change in the transit airport. This only applies to those in Mecca first. Okay? Now, in transit, let's say you've arrived now in Istanbul or Doha or Abu Dhabi or Dubai, locate the gate for your next flight, because the gate would not have been posted initially when they gave you the boarding card. And confirm again the flight departure time, and make sure you're at that gate at least 60 minutes prior to your flight departure. That flight is going to be full of Hajis going to Saudi Arabia. And if you're in the Mecca first program, this is the time when you remove your trousers, your underwear, your underpants. There is nothing underneath the 2 pieces of cloth. Nothing. No underwear, no undershirt, no socks, nothing. You just change into those 2 ihram garments. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings us into humbleness and humility by actually having us wear our own shrouds. And this is the lesson where you don't have a distinction between rich and the poor. Everybody is the same in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except the one who is more conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one with more taqwa. You change into the ihram garment at transit. Women already have the ihram garment from home, they remain in that garment. You board the aircraft onto Saudi Arabia, onto Jeddah, wearing the same ihram garments. And when they make the announcement, and they will in the aircraft, that the miqat is approaching in the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you don't wait for the 20 or 30 minutes. You make the intention for Umrah right then and there. If it's Umrah and Hajj combined, then that's right then and there. You do it in the air. A lot of people are under the impression that Jeddah is a miqat. I don't have to do it in the air. Once I land in Jeddah, it's a miqat. I can do it in Jeddah. That is incorrect, because you have missed the first miqat. You have to be in the state of ihram when crossing the first miqat. You missed the first miqat, you land in the second miqat, and you make the intention there, but you've already missed it. You've already violated a major violation, which requires an offer of a sacrifice by not being in ihram from the miqat. So make sure you wear your ihram before, and you make the intention when they announce it before you land in Jeddah. Once you arrive in Jeddah, they might ask you, these guys in white lab coats, as you get off the plane, they might ask you for your proof of vaccination. Immigration and customs can be quick, can be up to 2 hours. It all depends on who's ahead of you, how many other flights are ahead of you. When you go through them, you go through luggage claim. This is the time you make sure you have your own suitcase. It is, the number of people showing up, flights landing in there, and it's so easy to get mixed up. So when you take your luggage with you, make sure you have a marker on your luggage that you can personally identify that's your luggage. If you cannot find your luggage, don't leave the area unless you go to baggage services and file a lost luggage claim. And we will take that from you, and we'll try and trace it with the airline. The Hajj service provider reps cannot come inside, so once you exit the customs hall, they will find you there. You keep your valuables and hand carry with you. And again, anybody with a residence card, green card, PR card, there's no one that will ask you for it. You don't give it to them at passport control, hand it over to them with your passport. You just keep that with you. You just give them the passport and not the card. If you're going to Mecca after you arrived in Jeddah, then remember the transportation is not provided by the Hajj service provider. This transportation is managed by the government itself. They don't want the inefficient use of transportation because of the sheer number of people coming in. They don't want the bus to go half empty. So they will be the one providing it. Your service provider, Saudi Hajj and Kidana, Hajj and Umrah company, will work with the appropriate authorities to actually arrange the buses. And then you will go load your luggage, take your luggage to the bus, keep your valuables with you. Departure to Mecca will be usually by destination hotel. So everybody's going to one hotel. All the bus will be going there. If the bus has 2 different destinations, then we'll stop in one place before it goes to the second place. Know that the distance from Jeddah airport to Mecca is only 45 miles. However, be patient, because of the whole process that you go through, it still takes an average of 5 hours after you land to get to your destination in Mecca, even though you've been traveling for such a long time. You're not used to something this, because they're welcoming millions of people. If you happen to land in Jeddah and now you're going on to Medina, you will be met with the Hajj service provider reps as you exit from customs. Now, you'll transfer to Medina either by bus or transport or by train. It all depends what's available when you arrive. If I arrive at 1 a.m. in the morning and the next train is at 8 o'clock in the morning, then I have no choice but to proceed to Medina on ground transportation, because they don't allow you to stay at the airport. They want people to exit the airport as they come in, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, but they don't want you to stick around because of the sheer amount of people coming in, especially towards the last days of Hajj, before Hajj. So what will happen? Your service provider reps will tell you what the next step will be. If you have a train ticket, they will give you then the train ticket and direct you. It's a walking distance from the arrivals hall right into the train station or the bus, either one of them, and you'll go and onwards to Medina. Let's say you've arrived in Medina directly. You didn't go through Jeddah. It's a similar process. You'll go through showing your proof of vaccination, you'll go through immigration, you'll take out your luggage, and you'll meet your service provider reps after you exit customs hall, and then they will actually work with the third-party service provider and get you a bus to your destination hotel or your transport to your destination hotel. The hotels from Medina airport is about half an hour away. That they're not too far. and basically you'll get there to your hotel after that. When you are in Medina, these are the 3 hotels that we have for Saudi Hajj and Umrah company for all of the programs with them. Movenpick Hotel is right there. Dar Al Taqwa is right there, and Crown Plaza is on the south side. But you can see they're all in close proximity. When you actually walk from the hotel into the haram, into that courtyard, every entrance has a door number. So especially for those who are going for the first time. So just note the door number, the gate number. So for Movenpick is gate number 328. From Dar Al Taqwa is gate number 330. So you know that that's the gate number, so you can't be lost because you can always find the gate number and you know where your hotel is. But they're already very close. Now, room configuration. It's important to know that the number of standard beds in any hotel room, either Saudi Arabia or anywhere in the world, is just 2. So if you happen to be in quad or triple occupancy, they will have the extra beds in the room, but they will not be the normal standard bed. Comfortable enough, but it'll be temporary beds. So don't be alarmed by that. You don't be the one that gets swayed. How come I get this temporary bed and not the other person get a standard bed? That is the configuration of a triple and a quad occupancy over in Saudi Arabia, whether it's Umrah or Hajj. And we don't decide who gets which bed. We just assign people to the room. And the occupants of the room have to show consideration for each other as they choose which bed to sleep on. Second thing that annoys people, and that is check-in time. Now, the arrival of the flight has no bearing on the check-in time of the hotel. If the flight arrives at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the check-in time remains always in the afternoon. If you arrive at 11 o'clock in the morning and you have been traveling for 24 hours, it has no bearing to your checking in. Expectation would be, I will get to the hotel and I'll get my room. But if you arrive early in the morning, you may not get your room because the hotel is at full capacity. This is Hajj. And so whoever is there is likely to leave in the afternoon, likely to pray Dhuhr in Masjid al-Nabawi, come back, shower, change, put on the ihram and exit. And then the room will be clean. So if you go to a hotel like a Movenpick, go to the website now, it will tell you that the check-in time starts at 5 p.m. And the reason I'm doing this is to set your expectation that it is going to be, Hajj will be, hotel will be at capacity. We work with them from the morning onwards, before you even arrive, to try and get the rooms as early as possible, working with housekeeping to get the rooms cleaned on a priority basis and give you a place where you can leave your belongings, freshen yourself up, and go to Masjid al-Nabawi and spend some time there while your room is being ready. So just be prepared for that for those who are arriving early in the morning. Now, get familiar with the direction to Masjid al-Nabawi. I just mentioned that already. Open buffet breakfast and dinner will be provided in the hotel. There will be religious lectures. It'll be announced on your WhatsApp group by your guide. There will be ziyarah of Medina when you get on the bus and go on to Masjid Quba or Uhud and Qiblatain. You can participate in that. And all the admin guidance for the next steps, your luggage handling and move to Makkah, will be handled by your guide and through WhatsApp. Communication will be through group WhatsApp. Transferring your checked luggage to Makkah. Your checked luggage will be picked up earlier because everyone is leaving by high-speed train. There is restriction on what you can take as checked luggage on high-speed train. Plus, it's convenient for you not to have to carry your checked luggage, especially for the men who are in ihram. It's cumbersome for those who are in the first time to actually be in ihram and lugging a suitcase and a carry-on at the same time. So it's best for you to actually follow this instruction. Checked luggage will be picked up earlier. You'll be advised when it is. And you'll be advised what to prepare for the transfer of your checked luggage. And the most important thing is the last bullet. You'll be given a time. Make sure your checked luggage is outside your room door by a specific time. Make sure it is there before that time. Don't be late, because if the person has made the rounds and picked up all the checked luggages that were there, and then you put out your checked luggage after the time, it doesn't get picked up. Guess who has to carry it? You. So avoid that. Just listen to the instruction. If this checked luggage has to be there by 9 p.m., and I won't be back from the haram by 9 p.m. because I'll be busy with Isha prayers. And by the way, when I go for Maghrib prayers at 7 o'clock, I will stay there until Isha prayers, then put it out at 6:30 p.m. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be that exact as such. So just listen to the instruction, speak with your guide, make sure you follow the instructions and have your luggage out on time. And when you do, your hand carry always stays with you. Your hand carry luggage will have your things that you need, your medicine, your valuables, it always stays with you. If you're going to a Makkah hotel, so let me just speak about what to pack. If I'm going to a Makkah hotel, I'm in one of those programs that started in Medina early enough. Now I'm going to go to a hotel in Makkah, not to Kidana towers. Then your luggage, your checked luggage will be delivered to your Makkah hotel. So you'll have the opportunity later in Makkah hotel to pack for the Manasik of Hajj. You're not packing for the Manasik of Hajj in Medina because you're going to a Makkah hotel. And so you'll have very different requirements in what to pack. You keep your ihram with you because you're going to need that, and the rest can go, basically. All right. However, if you are going to go straight to Kidana Towers, you're one of those who's transferring one day before Hajj on the 7th of Zulhijjah, or you're transferring on the 6th of Zulhijjah, any one of those days, very close, and you're not going to go to a Makkah hotel, you're going to go to Kidana Towers directly from Medina, then you need to pack for the Manasik of Hajj in your carry-on and the backpack. Your checked luggage will not be available at Kidana Towers. It'll be available after the Manasik of Hajj. So you need to pack for the Manasik of Hajj because you're going for Umrah and Hajj pretty close. On the 6th of Zulhijjah, on the 7th of Zulhijjah, most of you are actually taking the train on the 7th of Zulhijjah in the evening, 7 o'clock or so. And guess what? You'll go straight and perform Umrah. By the time you get to Kidana Towers, it's already the 8th of Zulhijjah and the Hajj has begun, right? In which case, you just pack for the Manasik of Hajj and put the rest of the luggage outside on time. It will be made available to you in your next destination, whatever the next destination is. If you're going to Jeddah and departing, it'll be in a Jeddah hotel. If you're one of those that are going to come back to a Makkah hotel after the Manasik, it'll be in the Makkah hotel, but it will not be in Kidana Towers. Just please follow the instruction. The question is, what do I take with me when I'm in the Manasik of Hajj? What do I pack in that hand carry? Well, think about it. You're going to be in ihram when you depart from Medina. You're going to perform Umrah, and you might come out of ihram, or you might stay in ihram depending on the type of Hajj you perform, and you can speak about that to your sheikh in the fiqh session, in the fiqh of Hajj and Umrah session. What you need is a change of clothes when you come out of ihram. Right? So when you come out of ihram, coming back from Arafat, you will need one set of change of clothes. When you go and make Tawaaf Al-Ifadah and come back, you will need a second set of change of clothes. And you might need a third set of change of clothes. Listen, even if you need 4 sets of change of clothes, it doesn't really matter because you're going to keep that in Kidana Towers. There's room for you to keep that in Kidana Towers and toiletries that you need as such, right? And the backpack will contain whatever you need for Arafat and Muzdalifa. So you don't take the checked luggage, you don't take the hand carry luggage to Arafat and Muzdalifa, you travel even light. A backpack that has a shoulder strap as well as something to hold by hand. So you can actually put it on your shoulder. You don't have to always hold it by hand. And we'll have a prayer mat, the Quran and dua book and medicine and energy bars and some water bottles. I have the tendency to put water bottles, even the water is not cold, as long as I'm getting some liquid in me and rehydrating myself. At that time, I'm not worried about the fact that it's not cold. I'm worried about the fact that I have enough fluid in me. So those are the items that you consider going to Kidana Towers. On the day of departure itself, you complete your pre-ihram preparation, and that is you trim your nails, remove unwanted hair, make your ghusl. If you are 3 or 4 people in a room, make sure you have sufficient time for everybody to get ready. You will wear your ihram garment in the hotel room and then get downstairs on time to board the bus to the train station, okay? And you will take your hand carry with you. You'll empty the safety deposit box. Your valuables will be with you downstairs to the bus, to the train station, and onto the train. For those, if you're departing on via Haramain high-speed train, the tickets to the train will be distributed to you at that time. Okay. The intention for Umrah can be made on the bus to the train station because the train doesn't stop at the miqat. The miqat passes by pretty quickly, and you could be distributed in the train. So it's better to make the intention earlier, as soon as you leave the hotel. But this instruction will be further provided to you by your sheikh in the fiqh session. It takes 2¼ hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes from Medina station to Makkah station. And once you get there, they will transfer you from Makkah station to your destination in Makkah. And you'll still have your hand carry with you, and you're in the state of ihram. Now these are the hotels you'll be staying in for those who are staying in a hotel in Makkah, whether you're coming in from Medina and staying in the hotel, or whether you're coming into Makkah and staying in the hotel before moving to Kidana Towers, or you go straight to Kidana Towers from Medina, and then you come back after in Manasik. These are the 3 hotels. All this shows you is the proximity of the hotels to the haram. Same routine. Hotel contains 2 standard beds, and extra beds are temporary beds. Check-in time should not be an issue because all of you are coming in the evening from Medina. But those who are coming in by flight into Jeddah and expecting a hotel room, and their flight comes in early, you may have to wait for the room. Again, get familiar with the direction to the haram and return to the hotel. Haram is going to be far more busier in Makkah than you would have seen in Medina. And what you do is you perform Umrah and rest. Again, pace yourself. Conserve your energy for the 5 days and specifically for the day of Arafat. Haram is so crowded that you cannot really go 15 minutes before and catch a prayer. The gates entrance into the masjid would be closed an hour before because there's so amount of people going in that they shut the door. You're in the outside courtyard. Even that becomes difficult to walk through. So if you're going to go in early to pray in the haram, go in much earlier to pray in the haram. If you go for Maghrib, you will go about an hour before Maghrib to go for Maghrib. And then you stay there because between Maghrib and Isha is only an hour and 10 minutes. You stay there, read the Quran, make dhikr, extra prayers, and then come back after Isha prayers. Open buffet breakfast and dinner will be provided. Admin guidance will be provided. All communication will be through WhatsApp. Now, this is for those who are coming in straight from Jeddah into Makkah, or those who are coming in from Medina into Makkah. You'll perform your Umrah. For those who are checking out of the Makkah hotel for the Manasik of Hajj, let's say I've been in Medina, I've come to Makkah, I've done my Umrah, now I've stayed in Makkah, I'm going to check out. Now you have to go and pack for the Manasik of Hajj. And your checked luggage will be picked up and it will be available to you in your Jeddah hotel after the Manasik of Hajj. It will not be in Kidana Towers. Okay. All you will have is a hand carry and a backpack. Again, I've gone through this. What do you carry? What do you pack? Now, those are coming in to Kidana Towers. Where is Kidana Towers? So this Google map shows you where it's located. These set of buildings that you see that I have circled called Kidana Towers, and with the red arrow, that first building is building A. Right? It's about 20 minutes to the Jamarat. To walk to Jamarat is about 20 minutes. Coming back would be longer because they force you to come one way. It might be 30 minutes. So this is a valley. You can see the mountains on either side. And on the bottom left side that you see are homes. That's Aziziyah. That's on the other side of the mountain. This is a flat picture. So that's where Kidana Towers is, right in the middle of Mena, closer to the Jamarat. From Medina, who was coming into Kidana Towers? You're either coming in late from Medina into Kidana Towers on the 7th of Zulhijjah, or you're coming in from Jeddah Airport in the state of Ihram straight into Kidana Towers, or you're coming in from Makkah Hotel, you've already had your stay there, you've already done your Umrah, and you're coming in the state of Ihram for Hajj. So if you're coming in from Medina in the state of Ihram, when you get to the Medina station, we'll bring you into Makkah. We will not take you straight to Kidana Towers. We'll first bring you in to one of those hotels, likely to be Fairmont Hotel. But we'll have a large hall as our designated place. You drop off your things there, you make your wudu, and go to the haram with your guide to perform your Umrah. And you come back to the same place. And from there, you'll board the bus to go to Kidana Towers. Okay. If you are coming in from Jeddah Airport in the state of Ihram for Umrah, it's the same thing. We'll bring you in first to a rest area in one of the hotels. You go perform your Umrah, and you come back, and then you'll go to Kidana Towers. Okay. If you are in Kidana Towers, because you've stayed in Makkah, you're coming in the state of Ihram, you will check into your room. Men and women are in separate rooms and separate floors. That's where your shuyukhs will be, your guides will be, congregational prayers will be held, Hajj lectures and related topics, Q&A, open buffet breakfast, lunch, and dinner will be provided. But here, your job on that day, on the 8th of Dhul-Hijjah, is to get rested before you transfer to Arafat. When to transfer to Arafat will be provided to you by your guide. Okay? Departing will be according to group and program number. Your group leader will advise you when to leave, when we're going to get on the bus, because you'll be going by bus. You're not anywhere near those Mashayar trains, and it'll be dedicated bus. You'll have your own bus, right? It's not a shuttle service. And so we will tell you when to go. And now you don't need to take anything else with you other than your backpack, right? Make sure if your family is together, in the same group, they're together with you. And, be on time to travel to Arafat. They'll tell you the bus is going. I don't think there'll be a time for the bus to wait. Somebody's still coming. Somebody's still coming. The bus will probably come in and they want you efficiently board the bus so it can move on. So make sure you're aware of the fact that you have to be downstairs at a specific time. The traffic would be such that you won't be able to, the bus will not be able to wait. So just bear that in mind when you're given a time to be ready. What you need to take with you to Arafat and Muzdalifa is not your carry-on bag, is a backpack with the essentials like energy bars, Quran, dua book, etc. You don't need to take the blanket or pillow from Mena if you're intending to spend the night in Muzdalifa. Your service provider will provide you what you need to do to spend the night in Muzdalifa. So leave this stuff in Kidana Towers. When you arrive in Arafat, they have a separate accommodation, air conditioned, separate for men and women, indoor carpeting, ample area for sitting and congregational prayers, outdoor sitting areas, clean North American style toilets, open buffet meals, and of course, cold drinks and water to ensure hydration in hot weather. Arafat is your main reason for this trip. It is the entire reason for your trip. This is the day of Hajj. This is the day that you rehearse the day of judgment. This is the day you stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you stand and you have those 4 hours to plead your case to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the day where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives most people than any other day in the entire year. This is the pinnacle of Hajj. So if you come in early in the morning and the whole activity starts with Dhuhr and Asr, if you get a chance to catch a nap, catch a nap. Don't be alert that I have to be alert. I have to be reading the Quran. No, you don't have to be. Get some sleep if you can, even if it's 2 hours, because you need to be alert in the afternoon all the way till sunset. So get some rest. If you're coming in the middle of the night, right after Fajr, get some rest. So you don't have to be tired in the afternoon. You will have congregational prayer, Dhuhr and Asr, shortened and combined, and then have a khutbah of Arafat on the women's side as well as the men's side. And after that, it's your time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For you to stand there, indoors or outdoors, and make your individual case to Him to forgive you for your sins and to make dua for your family and for the ummah in general, and whatever else you have sincere desire to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no need for you to go outside. Can I go to Masjid Nimra? No. Can I go to Jabal Rahma? No. There is no need for you to go outside. The Prophet ﷺ said, all of Arafah is a place of standing. And it makes sense. You can't have 2 million people in one place. Masjid Nimra didn't exist at that time. So stay within the gated compound, because if you do go outside and get lost in the heat and exhausted, we can't help you. We don't know where you are. We can't send somebody else to look for you. It's very stressful for you and for us to stay within the compound. You are in Arafat, and that's all that matters. We will depart for Muzdalifa after Maghrib. Again, in dedicated buses, your group leader will provide you and guide you through the process. Please expect heavy traffic congestion on the trip to Muzdalifa. Every single person in Arafat is leaving Arafat to go to Muzdalifa. They have multiple roads, but the traffic is horrendous. The buses will only go so far before it stops. So you have to bear that in mind. When are we going to get there? A distance of 7 kilometers might take 5 hours. So just bear that in mind. You're in the bus, stay comfortable. You're going to get to Muzdalifa. And once you get to Muzdalifa, make sure you remain hydrated. They have a private area. The area is carpeted. Maghrib and Isha will be held shortened and in congregation, shortened and combined. Meals and drinks will be provided. There are washrooms in the private area. Just rest for the night and don't go outside. If you are going to go to the bathroom and it's outside for some reason, then you make sure that you don't go by yourself, because the place is very symmetrical. When I go out on that side and I look back, I can't tell where I came from. They all look alike. So always travel with a twosome or a threesome if you're going to go outside the gated area. But please don't go outside. If you can stay inside, great. But it may, so make sure that you understand how it works. Always when you go into the washroom, especially the ladies and the men's or the elderly, I would say just go as a group and wait for each other and come back together. There will be 2 separate departures from Muzdalifa. This is important. The buses will get there to Muzdalifa. It is unlikely that the buses could park. It is unlikely that they will be able to park. That's how bad the traffic is. So they will drop you off and they'll come back for you. Right? There are 2 departures. One is in the middle of the night. One is after Fajr. You can ask in the fiqh session which one applies to you, but generally speaking, it is wajib to remain till Fajr, except for those who were excused by the Prophet ﷺ. And these were older people, elderly, the weak, the sick, the women, the children, and those who were serving them. They were excused to leave Muzdalifa in the middle of the night. They came in, they prayed Maghrib, they prayed Isha, they spent some time. Once the middle of the night passed, they moved on to Mena. If your wife wants to go and you want to stay, then you have to go with your wife because you are the mahram for her. Don't split up. Right? But if you are elderly, sick, and not well and weak, then you can leave in the middle of the night and you can go on to Mena. How do you get to Mena? Well, we're hoping, and I am being very frank with you here, we're hoping that the bus will show up to take you from Muzdalifa to Mena. Likelihood of them showing up for those departing in the middle of the night is good. But the likelihood of them showing up after Fajr is really up in the air. So I want you to be prepared if you're staying until after Fajr, that you may have to wait for the bus or you may have to walk to your camp. And that will be an hour walk back to Kidana Towers. Because that's the nature of Hajj. That's what happens in Muzdalifa. You sleep under the open sky. Everybody's there in that small valley between the mountains. Everybody wants to go in the morning, and the rush will be in the morning because it also happens to be a Friday. Eid is on Friday. So chances are the traffic will be such that the bus may not be able to make it back to pick you up. I want you to mentally prepare the fact that you have to walk, which is why I suggested just a backpack that you can put on your back and don't have anything else to carry with you, something light to be able to walk. Backpack and an umbrella. That's all you need, right? And you have to walk. So if you're leaving in the middle of the night, stay with the group. There'll be some group leaders who will be split up in their roles. The guides, some will go in the middle of the night, some will stay till Fajr. When you return to Mena, next thing you have to do is do Rami Jamarat. It can be crowded at times. They will advise you when to go. You never go individually. You always go as a twosome or a threesome. Or better yet, the group plans it and you go with the group. If it's not your group, it's some other group, but at least you go with the group. Take an umbrella and water bottle with you and remain hydrated. As I mentioned, it's about 20 minutes walk to the Jamarat, and you have to start with the small shaitan, the middle shaitan, the large one will be the large shaitan. Then you can't come back the same way. They enforce it one way, and because of the flow through of people, and then you have to come around. So it may be 20 minutes to go there and 30 minutes to come back. The Tawaaf Al-Ifadah, there'll be a schedule. I think there's a schedule for 4:30 a.m. And that is to say, if you made it in the middle of the night, left Muzdalifa and came in the middle of the night, then they can go for Tawaaf Al-Ifadah at 4:30 a.m. I just bear in mind though, if you do that, if you make Tawaaf Al-Ifadah early enough and the bus can get you to bring you back to Kidana Towers, well and good. Otherwise, the roads will be blocked and shut because it's a Friday. Then you have to stay in Makkah until you finish your Jummah prayers, and the roads will open after 3 o'clock. Then you can come back to Kidana Towers. I think the second group is at 11:30 p.m. So you come back to Kidana Towers. It's a Friday, yes. You throw Rami Jamarat, you come out of Ihram, you relax, you stay put, and at 11:30 you go to the Haram and perform Tawaaf Al-Ifadah and come back. You may have to walk to get to the buses. The bus may not come right to the building. So bear that in mind. 15-minute walk, 20-minute walk. Okay. Again, so when you're still in Rami Jamarat, on other days, other than the 10th, where you have to go throw stones at all 3 Jamarat, again, just follow the group leader and the guide. Don't go there by yourself, and always take an umbrella and water bottle until you complete the Rami Jamarat, and your Hajj is over on the 13th of Zulhijjah. End of Hajj, at the end of Hajj, the different groups in Kidana towers have different departures. So some are going to go to Jeddah hotel for the return flight. Some will go to Medina because they started in Makkah on high-speed train. And some who had already been in Medina and did the Manasik of Hajj will go to Makkah hotel. And I'll go through each one of them. If you are departing to Hajj, after Hajj, back to the airport, you actually are going to go on the 13th of Zulhijjah. We will advise you when to make Tawaaf al-Wada from Kidana towers, make Tawaaf al-Wada, come back, and off you go from there to Jeddah airport, to the Jeddah hotel. Your luggage that was picked up from the last destination will be at that hotel, right? You may just get there, maybe you get to sleep, maybe you just get to shower and change and repack, and off to the airport you go. That's on the 13th of Zulhijjah. There are some, though, who will perform the Tawaaf al-Wada on the 12th of Zulhijjah because they're departing early morning of the 13th. So they're going to actually leave on the 12th and then go and do Tawaaf al-Wada and go to the hotel and then from there to the airport. Departure after Hajj to Medina, that will be on the 13th of Zulhijjah. You will do the last Rami Jamarat on Kidana towers on the 13th of Zulhijjah. And then you will go and make Tawaaf al-Wada, probably at this, as soon as you get to Makkah. And then you'll depart from Kidana towers to Makkah train station to Medina. And basically it takes 2.5 hours to get to Medina from Makkah station. Those who are departing to their Makkah hotel, they will actually depart also on the 13th of Zulhijjah. They will perform Rami Jamarat that day. And then they will depart probably in the afternoon, because that day many people are exiting the hotels and you have to wait till the rooms are available. So expect some delay in checking in, but it'll be on the 13th of Zulhijjah, inshallah. If you're coming back home, a complimentary Zamzam will be provided by the Hajj service provider, and Dar es Salaam, 5 liters per adult, pre-packed for check-in. It is an extra luggage for which they don't charge you to the first point of arrival. So if you're coming back to JFK, in my example, no charge. You're taking a domestic flight from JFK to Columbus, Ohio, your domestic carrier will charge you or may charge you for this luggage, though you can plead with them that this is holy water. Sometimes they allow it, sometimes they don't. You can always bring dried dates as long as you declare it, that you have food and this dried dates. It's well known by immigration and customs inspectors in all of the countries. Brothers and sisters, we've taken about an hour and a half. And now I'm going to go through some reminder. 95% of the questions that I get is all about logistics and what to take, what not to take. And people get lost in this. People get consumed by this. And what has happened over the years is, what is the actual undertaking you're making to go there? There is a spiritual essence of it that I don't want you to lose focus on. I want to remind you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about Hajj something specific. He says the months of Hajj are well known. We are in the months of Hajj. The months of Hajj starts after Ramadan is over. Months of Hajj are Shawwal and Zulqa'dah, and then Zulhijjah. We are already in Zulqa'dah. Then he gives us the condition to visit him. He says, whoever then desires to come, let him know there will be no lewdness, no fusuq, no committing sins, no disobedience, no arguments during Hajj. If you were to pause right here and ask yourself, every single one of you, am I going to do these things? None of you will say yes. Nobody has the desire to commit these things. But if we don't have the desire or intention to commit these things, why is it mentioned in the Quran? It is mentioned in the Quran because you're likely to fall into it. Given the millions of people, given that wonderful display of Islamic brotherhood and sisterhood, people from different parts of the world, speaking different languages, different culture, different way of thinking, you're likely to fall into it. And he's giving you a condition, what your behavior should be when you come. It has to be in the best of behavior. We people say, I have to be patient. No, that's not sufficient. It has to be the best of behavior. There shall be no lewdness, no committing sin, and no arguments during Hajj. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala adds on to it by saying, and whatever khair, whatever good you do, and this good is not defined. It could be the smallest thing and the largest thing. Whatever good you do, Allah is aware of it. Allah knows it. Know that Allah knows it, whatever good you do. And the opportunity to do good is tremendous given the world is there. It is not your Hajj, it is our Hajj. The person next to you is there for the same reason, to seek forgiveness. Remember that. It's whatever good you do, Allah is aware. And this is 99% of the questions that I get, and I've been getting over 30 years. وَتَزَوَّدُوا. If you wish to take provision for the journey, you may do so. And people get lost in this. Can I do this? Can I take that? Can I do this? Can I? You know what? People tend to overpack, but they are consumed by what they need to take. What is Allah saying here? Yes, you may take provision, but the best provision is taqwa. Best provision is being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Best provision is righteousness. That comes from the heart. That's the best provision you can give with you. Again, the best provision is your behavior, is your thinking, is your heart connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, you can take all this physical stuff with you, but the best behavior, khayri zadi taqwa. And as if that was not sufficient, he tells us again, wattaquni. So be aware of me, be conscious of me, O you who understand. Wattaquni, it's a command, be conscious of me, O you understand. And this taqwa is something that you would have developed in the month of Ramadan, which is why the months of Hajj starts afterwards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Ramadan that he has been prescribed us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, that he has, O you who believe, Siyam is prescribed for you, Kutiba alaykumus siyam, as it was prescribed before those before you, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you become nearer to me, you become more conscious of me, you become more aware of me. And so this righteousness that you developed is what comes into play for Hajj. That's what you need. It's your character that's required. It's your best behavior that you require. And people say, well, I'm trying to avoid difficulty. I'm trying to avoid going through this hardship. I want an easy Hajj. Brothers and sisters, no matter what we do for you to arrange for you, no matter what any service provider does for you, if Allah intends to test you and try you, you will go through those tests and trials. You can sit there and you can say, I'll blame this person, I'll blame that entity. You can do all of that. But if you're conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you'll know that the moment you step out of your house, you're in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his house at his calling. He is the one that has honored you to be at his house. He is the one that called you. So what comes your way is been sent to you to see your character, your mettle. You can blame everybody, but remember when you're tested, if you're connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will go through that test. You will have that patience. Have that patience. For that, you have to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me ask you this. The reward of Hajj is what? The reward of Hajj, as the Prophet ﷺ said, that anyone who performs Hajj without going into rafas or fusuq al-jidal returns home as the day his mother gave birth to him, sinless. The volumes of sin that has been written up gets completely wiped out. The other reward of Hajj, he said in a hadith, is the one that Hajj that is acceptable. The reward is no less than Jannah. Imagine being the person whose name is inscribed as an inhabitant of Jannah. If I tell you that this trip is for you to come back clean or be described as an inhabitant of Jannah, what are you prepared to go through for this trip to be successful? Would you not go through some hardship? Will you not go through with patience? Will not you go through with sincerity and with some character that Allah is asking you to have? So just keep that in mind. That is the spiritual essence. Don't get lost in the logistics to the point where, brother, you said the bus will be here at 8 o'clock. It's now 9 o'clock. The bus is not here. My bus is not stuck here. There's buses that are stuck there. Nobody's delaying it on purpose. So just bear that in mind. That's why I said, go engage in dhikr. Connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the act of worship. When people come back, they have difficulty connecting back to this dunya. They have difficulty concentrating on work. Then you know something has happened. It transforms you. It makes you a person that is far more aware of this deen than you ever was before. Now, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking you? You stand there on the day of judgment before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're rehearsing that day of judgment in the day of Arafat. Is that what it is? Because you're standing there in two pieces of shroud, facing the direction of the Qibla and saying, my Lord, forgive me. I'm pleading my case to you, because this is the time for forgiveness. On the day of judgment is not the time for forgiveness. So here's a reminder I like to use for that purpose. When Allah specifically mentions when we meet him on the day of judgment, he says, on that day, لا ينفع مال ولا بنون. You will not be able to benefit from your wealth or from your children. You know, the money we've accumulated because I can have a nice retirement, that will not benefit me on the day of judgment. Or the fact that I'm so proud, my son is in this position, has become a successful surgeon or doctor, that will not benefit me. Allah says, you will not benefit from your wealth, from your children, illa, except man atallaha biqalbin salim, except for the one who comes to me with a sound heart. He's looking to that sincerity when you ask him, that comes from your heart. He's looking to that heart that is conscious of his presence. He's looking to that heart that is aware in every action that Allah is watching me. So leave the dunya aside for the moment when you're there. Concentrate on why you're there and make sure you do so from heart. How do you make your heart sound? Let me give you another example. This is specifically from Surah Al-Hajj, and it's specifically about the sacrifice that you will be offering, or we will offer it on your behalf. It's required when you're performing Hajj to offer a sacrifice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, neither the meat nor the blood of the animal that is sacrificed reaches him. But what reaches him is taqwa minkum, piety from you, the person offering the sacrifice. And the piety, my brothers and sisters, resides in your heart. Your awareness, your righteousness, your best behavior. So how do you prepare your heart for this journey? I will prepare you on the logistics side. Brother Ahmed will prepare you on the admin side, the tickets and all that. But how do you prepare your heart for the journey? That is up to each individual to reflect what this means to them. And you start off by repairing any relationship that you have damaged with your brothers or sisters, God forbid parents. Go back and repair that relationship. Make sure you go and seek forgiveness. If you have harmed someone, go and seek forgiveness. If you have, repent for your sins before you go. It is all part of removing the rust from the heart. It's all part of cleansing the heart. Remove the malice in your heart that you have. How can you go and say, Allah, forgive me, when you're not prepared to forgive some of the others that may have harmed you or hurt you? How can you say, Allah, have mercy on me, when you can't show the same mercy to others? So this is that reformation. This is that thing that you go through individually and reflect upon on this trip. This is a spiritual essence where you're going. You can do the rituals, but if spirituals are missing, then you come back and you say, I've done Hajj, but the impact is not there because you've missed out the actual essence of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Opportunity to do good over there. Whoever removes a worldly grief from a believer, Allah will remove from him one of the griefs of the day of resurrection. Am I not afraid of standing before Allah and for all that I've done? Would I not want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me relief on that day? Whoever alleviates the need of a needy person, Allah will alleviate his needs in this world and the hereafter. Whoever shields or hides the misdeeds of a Muslim, Allah will shield him in this world and the hereafter. So am I going to be talking about someone wrong over there, or will I shield his fault or her fault? You have to be aware of your own character. Allah will aid his slave so long as he aids his brother. And the opportunity is phenomenal over there. It's our Hajj, not your Hajj, our Hajj. We're all there for the same purpose. So do good to others. Get an opportunity. Help somebody else with their luggage. And sincerely do so. Not being proud of doing so, with humbleness and humility. So make sure you understand the purpose here. Verily, every good deed is charity. And it is good deed if you meet your brother with a cheerful look. And it is a good deed if you extend a helping hand to him. When you go, when the iqamah is called in the haram, قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ, you will stand shoulder to shoulder, probably with people you've never met, people from different country, people who speak a different language, you can't even communicate with them. Different thinking, different culture, different tradition. But once the prayer is over, turn to your right with a smile, because he's there for the same reason, and say, or she is there for the same reason, say Assalamu alaikum. Shake hands to your right, to your left, because we're all there for the same purpose. So that's cheerful look, and mean it, because he's your brother in Islam or sister in Islam. And this part, just to give you an idea as to how much of fulfilling this is, the reward for it. The Prophet ﷺ said the most beloved of people to Allah are those who benefit people the most. And the most beloved actions to Allah is putting happiness in the heart of a Muslim. And to help a believing brother with his needs, said the Prophet ﷺ, is more beloved to me than to make i'tikaf in the masjid, in his masjid, in Masjid Nabawi for an entire month. You can be praying an entire month. It is not as sufficient as to help a believing brother in his needs. Imagine that comparison. And you have that opportunity, whether it's in your group, whether it's outside your group, whether it's somebody coming from completely outside. That is the spirit and the essence of Hajj, which is why everybody's gathered at the same time. If Hajj was mandatory for a believer, it could be whenever you want to do it. No, Allah called everybody at the same time. There's a reason for it. And this is the opportunity given to you. So help your Muslim brothers and sisters. And when you do come across something, exercise patience. Be very patient. I would say be extremely patient, but the prerequisite for that is that you're conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I mean it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us ease in every way, physically, mentally, emotionally, ease in completing this journey, and to accept our Hajj in our supplications. And there's nothing more you want than Allah be pleased with you in this dunya and in the hereafter, then you would accomplish your mission. May Allah accept it from all of us. Jazakallah khair for listening. What I will do now is I will end the slides. I will try and see if I can get to. I'm going to open up the Q&A, but first I will try and answer the question that you had already previously asked. Let me get to it. First group of questions. Kidana Towers facilities. Regarding Kidana Towers facilities, already these questions are all combined, summarized. So we'll just go from there. Let me see if I can get this. Okay. Thank you, Brother Ahmed. I appreciate it. What does Kidana Towers offer or include in terms of amenities, facilities like bathroom, showers, bedding situation, power outlets? So it's considered to be Kidana Towers to have like a hotel, if you will, right? So they will have your towels. Somebody asked a question about towels. They have bathroom facilities separate from men, separate from women. And they will come in and change your sheet. You'll have your bed sheet. They'll have your pillow. You'll have your all brand new. They will have power outlets, but the whole facility is not that you have your own room. It's the two people together. That's not how it's going to be. I think each room holds about 10 people. So there'll be some power outlets there, and you'll be able to share some power outlets, and you'll have bathrooms that are also going to be shared. And the bathrooms will have all the toiletries that you need. You'll have towels, and so forth. Do they have Wi-Fi? I don't know this answer, but I'll get back.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, Brother Azad. If I could answer this in a little more detail, because I know there's so many questions about this, right? Trying to understand
Please do. Please do. Yes.
And I promise you, brothers and sisters, you will see very beautiful pictures soon. We don't want to show you the 3D renderings. We want to show you the actual when they're on the ground, bi'idhnillah. But I want to read to you verbatim what's the structure of the building, okay? There's about 5 floors, or 4 floors, including the ground floor and rooftop. But generally speaking, most of the floors, with the exception of the ground floor, there are 30 rooms. Each room contains 10 to 11 beds, plus a TV and a shared TV and a shared refrigerator. There is 4 restroom units on each floor. Each restroom has a total of 9 toilets/showers, 3 separate showers, and approximately 10 wash basins, of which 3 are wash basins and 7 are ablution or wudu stations. There is 2 coffee corners above the north and south entrances, 3 elevators for guests, and 1 service elevator for each person. There's also a prayer area, approximately 300 square meters, with a canopy on the rooftop, as well as the restaurant, and seating and lounge area with the canopy around 300 square meters, inshallah. We'll provide you this in a little more detail, bi'idhnillah, when the time comes. But once we have that clear, it is like Brother Azhar mentioned, inshallah, Saudiya Hajj and Umrah is treating this as a hotel. So you will have your bed sheets, you will have pillows, you will have blankets, you will have a daily housekeeping service for the room, inshallah. So mashallah, it's completely different than any of our expectations, bi'idhnillah. There is going to be toiletries, but you can always bring your own as well. I hope that kind of covers an expectation of the Kidana Al-Wadi Mena Tower. And there will be Wi-Fi, inshallah. But of course, if you can elaborate, Brother Azhar, on the need for Wi-Fi, again, everyone should also have their data plan with them, whether it's a local SIM or their international roaming.
Yeah, I've covered that extensively, that they have to be connected.
I'm sorry, Brother Azhar, if you can close the Q&A, because we have enough questions that are going to be answered, so there's no redundancy.
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Ahmed. Really appreciate it. The question is, where will our luggage be when we go from Makkah to Kidana Towers? Will they be kept in Kidana Towers or in Makkah? So your luggage will be in the next destination. If you're going from Makkah to Kidana Towers, and your next destination will be Medina after Hajj, because you're going to Medina afterwards, then your luggage will be shipped to Medina. If your destination is that you're going to depart after that, then your luggage will be in that Jeddah hotel that you'll go to before you get to the airport. Suffice to say that the luggage, the checked luggage, will not be in Kidana Towers. So what you take with you is the hand carry luggage and a backpack, and that will be with you in Kidana Towers. For SV Gold, there will be a connecting flight from Jeddah to Medina. Do we have to recheck our luggage in Jeddah, or will it go directly to Medina? So if you're going on Saudi Airlines and SV Gold, I've seen it done both ways. When you actually get to the check-in counter, they will check your luggage all the way through to Medina, and they will tell you whether you need to actually pick it up in Jeddah and go through customs. There is no customs per se. What they've done for Umrah is that they said, don't even bother picking it up from the carousel at Jeddah airport, go straight onto your connecting flight. I've been through both situations where I've gone in there and to the connecting flight, and they said, no, go back and pick up your luggage and bring it over here. Because the actual transfer to Medina, that place in Jeddah airport where you do a domestic transfer, is right by the luggage carousel. So I've had to do both. I have to take my luggage. It was tagged already to Medina, but I had to pick it up and walk over to them and give it to them for them to put it on the domestic flight. And I've gone through the other way when I have actually gone to them and they said, don't worry about your luggage, it won't show up, just go straight to your flight, right? So I'm pretty sure that it will go straight to Medina, but it could be either way. You don't have to hang your luggage should be tagged all the way through to Medina. I have a 45-minute layover in Doha. What happens if I miss my flight to Medina? If you're traveling on Qatar Airways and you have a shorter, they would not have issued the ticket if it was not considered to be a legal transfer. But if you do miss it, they'll probably put you on the next flight. Will we have to wait till 5 p.m. that evening for a hotel check-in, or will we be available when we arrive? As I mentioned, it depends on when you arrive. If you arrive on the day your check-in begins in the morning, you probably will have to wait, and we'll have to try and speed it up. But if you've arrived later than your check-in begins, some people have a check-in beginning at 5 p.m. and they're arriving at midnight. No, that means that your hotel will already have it. So it depends. If you're arriving on the day of your checking in, then early, then you may have to wait. Can DSU Kidana team help us book our seats? Brother Ahmed, would you be able to answer this question, please?
Yeah, so I'm not sure which airline it is, but what we can tell you is most of the airlines do allow you to check in. I'm assuming that this is a question about Saudi Arabian Airlines. We will address this in due time. We're just speaking to Saudi Hajj and Umrah to see how the mechanism would be if we can assist. Maybe there will be a form that they would request it, because I believe this is the subject of discussion now about Saudi Airlines and seat assignments. Unfortunately, Dar es Salaam is not the ticketing agent for Saudi Arabian Airlines, so we won't have any flexibility on it, but we're going to find out from them which direction we would go, if there's a mechanism where they can make a Google sheet or something, and anyone can request it, and then we can upload it and send it to them, and they can make their best to do that. But of course, the best approach is you will definitely be guaranteed a seat, inshallah, and blocked off as a group. But if you want to get there earlier to get a better seat, that would probably be the best approach. But we will definitely try to find another solution in the coming days. Brother Azhar, also one more thing that we wanted to address in the Kidana Towers. There was a question about, or there's a few questions about, how many bags can we take to Kidana? Brothers and sisters, I want you to picture this. You are traveling on a 4-day trip anywhere in the world. You're going to leave your house. You're going to pick up those bags. You're going to put them in a car. You're going to take them out of the car. You're going to go to the airport. You're going to check them into the go through security at the airport. You're going to take them with you, or drag them with you, or walk them with you to the gate. You're going to get to the plane. You're going to put them inside the plane. You're going to take them off. You're going to walk out. You're going to go to a rental or whatever it may be. Then you're going to go to your hotel and then do that whole process. And when you're going back, you'll do the same process. So picture that you're doing this process going to Mena. How many bags do you think you can carry? Right? So we always say a carry-on and a backpack should be sufficient, especially for those days.
Suitcases will be available to you in the hotels, but not in Kidana Towers. I think you've had that. During the Manasik, will our guides be able to adjust pace to accommodate the elderly and those in wheelchairs, or must the elderly and wheelchairs play catch up? No, the guides should be able to help you with respect to those in wheelchairs in terms of keeping up the pace with the rest, inshallah. They will travel together in the bus. So the only place to keep pace would be when you're going from the bus into the camp in Arafat, for example, or into Muzdalifa. The guides will be able to help you, assist you in some capacity until everybody is in. When it comes to going to the Jamarat, though, I would say to you that those who are not able to walk are excused from it, and somebody else can throw the stones on their behalf. That's possible, and that can be done, and it is normally done that way. From Muzdalifa, do we go directly to the Jamarat, or do we go to Mena first and then to Muzdalifa? From Muzdalifa, if you're leaving in the middle of the night, you'll probably go or in the middle of the night, I would say, if the bus does show up, you'll probably go to the camp, because not everyone who's in that bus will be able to go to the Jamarat. You're taking elderly, the weak, the sick, and so forth. And then you can go from there on to the Jamarat. For the ones leaving in the morning, if the bus doesn't show up, you're actually walking. And if you're walking, then the Kidana Towers will come first before the Jamarat comes. So it's kind of hard to say, will I go directly to the Jamarat? If I go directly to the Jamarat, there is no place for the bus to actually park. If they drop you off at the Jamarat and you go throw the stones, you have to walk back to Kidana Towers. But as I said, if it's a bus service that has handicapped people or people with wheelchair difficulties in your group, they won't be able to throw, and the bus can't drop them off, and it can't turn around and come to Kidana Towers. So likelihood is that they will go first to Kidana Towers and then you go to the Jamarat. Will we collect 70 pebbles on the 10th of Dhul-Hijjah morning, or do we collect 7 pebbles? I think it's best to collect all your pebbles. I know the last year, some of the service providers provided the pebbles. They're already collected in small bags, and I'm assuming, and this is a question we can take back, I'm assuming they'll do the same thing for you. If not, then you can collect all of them in Muzdalifa, inshallah. Should we reserve the Rawda visit by ourselves, or would it be arranged by Dar Islam? We have asked the service providers to give us a group permit so the entire group can go, and they're working on it. So what you do is you actually go into Nusuk app and book your Rawda and use that appointment. And if you happen to also get to go with the group, you get to go twice. So we're working on the group part, but true, you can also have the appointment individually and go individually. In one of Sheikh Yasir Qadi's lecture, he encouraged fit and able-bodied Hujjaj to walk from Arafat to Muzdalifa. Is this something that we could do? You have to know where you're going, because it's not a matter of just walking from Arafat to Muzdalifa. If you split from the group, you're splitting from the group all the way to Kidana Towers. Because don't expect that you will find the location in Muzdalifa where the group is at, and you can actually get there as such, and then catch a bus from there on. You're walking all the way. I've done it once, but as I said, I would not encourage it, because I've done it where I've took me 4.5 hours to get to Muzdalifa, and it took me another 1.5 hours to get to my camp because there was no transportation available. So I would not encourage it from that perspective. Could you please explain about the Nusuk card when we will receive it? I'd appreciate it if you could guide me on how to store it digitally on my phone. Nusuk, are you referring to the Nusuk card? Is it? Brother Ahmed, do you know what this is?
Sorry, which question, Brother Azhar?
Explain about the Nusuk card, when we'll receive it, and appreciate if you could guide on how to store it digitally on my phone. Are you referring to Nusuk app? Then
No, I believe they're referring to the Nusuk ID card that we've mentioned before, the one that they receive from the service provider when they check in to their first hotel or the second day that they're there. This is kind of like their permit for Hajj. So they get that on the ground there. Typically, it's taken care of, given to you by the service provider prior to you going to Hajj. That's that ID that we had last year, Brother Azhar, that they created through Nusuk.
Understood.
And basically, if you have the Nusuk app or you downloaded the Nusuk app where you probably got the Rawda, if you have an old visa, if you update your visa for Hajj, you may be able to see your image and that ID, digital Nusuk ID card as well there. But we can always assist you when we're on the ground. It is not a prerequisite for you to arrive. You're not going to miss your Hajj without it. And inshallah, when you arrive there, the service providers usually will give it to you before starting the Manasik of Hajj. Sometimes it's usually done in Medina on the second day, or sometimes after when you arrive in Mecca. But typically, you should all have it prior to going to Mena, inshallah.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. The last question from the previously asked question is, my son and I have 2 different guides, though we're going together. Can this be changed? If you're in the same Saudi program altogether, then you should be together. And what you need to do is connect with your Hajj agent. I believe it's Sister Mayin, and provide that information, and she will see what she will do, put you together. You have to be in the same program though, right? You're going to Hajj with Kidana, yes, but it has to be in the same program.
Brother Azhar, if I want to clarify here, because this can be construed in 2 different questions. If they're mentioning that they are in different groups based on what Dar es Salaam created, those bus lists or the group lists that we created, if they're together, then they're perfectly fine. If they are asking the question about them being assigned to 2 separate guides or different guides within Nusuk, I think we sent out a very detailed message stating that what you see on Nusuk as your guide may not be the guide on the ground. That is procedural, and they just needed to upload individual names. Now, you might be thinking, why is it so difficult for us to be put together on the Nusuk? That is irrelevant, because whoever's on the ground with you is going to be the one assisting you. And what was done on Nusuk was procedural. And the funny thing is, on Nusuk, they don't identify who are the families together when they're assigning the guides to it. So we do it, and we work with the service providers to just select randomly, so they're assigned, because we are going to be, as Dar es Salaam, supporting you, and the Dar es Salaam team is going to be running the guide planning and the leadership planning for your guidance.
Jazakallah khair. I think that's clear. Yeah, I didn't catch the fact that Nusuk assigns a guide as well, which you just simply should ignore it. It's the guide that introduced himself or herself to you in the calls that we had, the webinars. That would be your guide. And as long as that bus list has, the group list has both the names in it, then you should be okay. Okay, I'm going to the Q&A. What about those arriving from other destinations who are from US, Australia, etc.? we are from the US, but we're flying into Medina from Amman and from Jeddah to Amman after a week stopover in Amman with respect to arrival in Saudi. So basically, it doesn't matter which airline you take and which destination you're coming from. You could be coming from the UK, you can come from Australia, as long as you're arriving on the date you're supposed to arrive and we have the information about your flight, then there'll be someone there to actually meet you at the airport and transfer you to the hotel. As long as you're part of the group and you're part of the rooming list, then you're part of the same Hajj program, then you're with us. It's a matter of knowing which flight you're coming in, and you're coming in on time, and we will meet you and assist you and transfer you from the airport. So we're flying in from Medina, from Amman, and from Jeddah to Amman. Fine, as long as you arrive on the day your program starts, we'll grab you at the airport and bring you to the hotel and transfer you on the return as well. Can you please provide the slides to us? Brother Nas, I really wouldn't be able to provide it. It's just too huge, but we'll have the recording available, inshallah. Is the Arafat khutbah mandatory to listen to? I would. It's a khutbah just like any other khutbah, and the khutbahs are required of you to listen to. So first they will pray 2 rakat dhuhr followed by 2 rakat asr, and then it'll be a short khutbah, and so you should really listen to it attentively. Can I have 2 check-in luggage on the train? So total will be 4, 2 for me and 2 for my wife. If you are going to carry check-in luggage with you in the state of Ihram, and your wife's going to carry 2 with you, I don't think there will be an issue on the train from the check-in luggage perspective. Right? They allow one, there shouldn't be an issue at all if you're carrying 2 check-in. But ask yourself whether you really need 2 check-in luggages altogether. 1 check-in luggage should be sufficient for the amount of time you're going to spend there. Can the men wear sun hat instead of umbrella? But the Sayyid, this is a fiqh question you should be asking a sheikh, but I can tell you shortly that you cannot cover your head. You cannot put something on top of your head. No cap. Cannot even pull your sheet to cover your head when you're sleeping. So an umbrella that is separated, it's not touching your head, yes, you can have that, but not a sun hat. You mentioned hand sanitizer is okay. Is it okay that sanitizer has alcohol? We have 2 different opinions. You're not drinking it. It's the one that is actually cleansing you. Another opinion says, why don't you just avoid, you can find hand sanitizers that does not have alcohol in it. So whatever you feel comfortable with, I think you should go with that. Is it advisable to bring our own wheelchair from US? I have a family member who will push me. If it is a standard wheelchair, Brother Salim, then there's no point in bringing it unless you're coming in and going straight from the airport to Kidana Al Towers from Jeddah. If you're in that group, then you'll not have a chance to purchase a wheelchair. But if you're stopping in a hotel in Medina or stopping in a hotel in Jeddah, it's readily available in the pharmacy over there. But if you feel comfortable bringing your own, you can, but it's readily available over there. The only exception would be I'm coming into Jeddah airport in Ihram and I'm going to go straight to Kidana Towers. Then it'd be nice to actually have the wheelchair with you. Assalamu alaikum. Is there a possibility of keeping our check-in luggage or even one medium-sized small check-in luggage during our stay at Kidana Towers, right? Okay, so you're looking at shared photos. There'll be plenty of space, mashallah, besides each bed to keep at least one check-in luggage or even store it under your bed. Ladies usually require more layers of clothes and toilets just to feel comfortable. As far as I know, Sister Amira, that they're not transferring any check-in luggage to Kidana Towers. Now, so if you want to take the luggage with you, then that's a different story, but they're not transferring any check-in luggage to Kidana Towers per se. I'm going to Makkah first. Should I do Ihram and intend Umrah only or Umrah and Hajj together? Well, it all depends. If you're going to Makkah first and you're actually going to go to a hotel in Makkah and a few days later move to Kidana Towers, then you perform Umrah only. But if you're going to go straight into the days of Hajj after performing Umrah, then you may consider doing Umrah and Hajj together, and that depends on when you arrive. The idea behind doing Umrah and coming out of Ihram is because there's a few days left for Hajj, and you don't have to assume Ihram and stay in that state of Ihram for those few days and take away the restrictions of Ihram for yourself. But if you're going to go in and the 7th of Dhul Hijjah, you're arriving on the 6th of Dhul Hijjah and you're performing an Umrah, and on the 8th you're in Mena already because you're staying there, then you may consider doing both. And this is a question you should really be asking in the fiqh session as well. Are there bathrooms on the buses? Usually there is a bathroom in the bus, yes. If we fly to Medina from Jeddah, do we exit customs and remain as international transit? You don't. If you're flying from Medina to Jeddah on Saudi Airlines, from Medina to Jeddah on Saudi Airlines, Medina Jeddah is local. So if you're trying from Medina to Jeddah, then you're flying locally. There is no customs for you. And so you'll come out locally and then go check in through international transit. And if you check your luggage all the way through, you still have to go through that process. If I'm not returning directly to the US after Hajj, is it okay not to take my green card with me in Saudi Arabia? Whatever, if you're not returning directly to the US, so whatever country you're going to other than US after Hajj, at the check-in counter, when you're on your return flight, they will ask to see if you have the appropriate document that authorizes you to enter that country. So if it's not the US, you're going somewhere else, you have the visa for that country, or you hold the citizenship of that country and you're traveling in that passport, they'll want to see that. I have a direct flight from IID to Jeddah. Any recommendation where to put on ihram? So if you're on a Saudi Airlines flight to Jeddah, thank you, Brother Imran, you take your ihram garment with you in the plane, and about 3 hours before they start the last meal service, which is about 2 hours before landing, 3 hours before, go to the back of the aircraft. Saudi Airlines has a prayer area in the very back of the aircraft. They have curtains. You will see other men there too, and that's when you change into the ihram garment. When the cabin light's still off, everybody's sleeping, they haven't started the last meal service, which will be about 2 hours before landing. So you do that, and then can you come back to your seat. If you want to do that and make wudu and pray 2 rakah, you can do that and come back to your seat, because it might be difficult when they start the meal service, because the aisleway will be all jammed up. So to just do it just 3 hours before landing, and then when they announce the miqat is approaching, you can make the niyyah in your seat. Is the tunnel between Jamarat and Kidana completed? I am not aware of any tunnel between Jamarat and Kidana. Brother Ahmed, are you? Can you please send me a list of amenities? Yes, inshallah, the things that they will provide, once we know exactly what they are, we'll provide that to you, and also what's available in Kidana Towers. Brother Ahmed, inshallah, will provide that to you once they have the things done. Thank you for the presentation. How soon will some of us learn about the accommodation arrangements in Jeddah? Our return flight is about 2 days after the end of Hajj. So if your return flight is on the 14th of Zulhijjah, then you will actually leave Jeddah, leave Kidana Towers on the 13th of Zulhijjah. You will actually perform Rami Jamarat, go to the Haram, make Tawaaf al-Wada, and then proceed on to Jeddah to the hotel. And then, of course, if you're staying hotel 1 night, could be 2 nights, depends on when your return flight is, you will stay in that hotel. Basically, the accommodation in Jeddah will be, as to what the arrangement would be, I think the rooming will be made separately for Jeddah and will be made available to you, inshallah. Can you please restate when we would leave Mena for Arafat? At what time is the khutbah? So we don't know the timing of leaving Mena to Arafat. They will be decided at that time. It has to do with transport logistics. When we have the approval to actually transfer these people from Kidana Towers to Arafat, they will actually let us know that time. They normally almost let us know the time of transfer about a day or so before. So the evening before, on the 8th of Zulhijjah, they will tell you, we're leaving at this time tomorrow. And so that's what will happen. As far as the khutbah is concerned, you gather in your place for prayer Dhuhr and Asr. It is right immediately after the prayer. So the Dhuhr prayer starts at 12:20, is the Dhuhr prayer, for example. You would be in the state of wudu and waiting for the Dhuhr prayer to start. Try to think out of the box. Don't go 10-15 minutes before to the washroom to make wudu. It'll be a long lineup. What you do is you remain in the state of wudu from 11 o'clock or 11:30, and then you come back and take a place where the prayer will be held. It'll be 2 rakah of Dhuhr, 2 rakah of Asr, after which there'll be khutbah right away.
So, Brother Azhar, I just wanted to add in terms of what items to bring. I think we sent a PDF a few times in Telegram. If anyone has it, they can probably post it again from the brothers and sisters. We can post it again to the group, inshallah, for those that may have missed it. And it
Do you
is in list form.
do you recommend taking a different pair of clothes for each non-ihram day, or will we have access to laundry facilities in Medina and Mecca? In Medina and Mecca, there is laundry facilities, services provided by the hotel. They're a bit pricey, but they do provide laundry services for you to wash, to get your clothes washed. In Mecca hotel, it's the same, but because of the sheer number of people, you have to first ask them what the turnaround time is. Generally, if you give it in the morning, they'll give it to you in the evening, but you have to ask for that. And if they say no, it won't be available for 2 days, then you can make that decision as such. I don't take a different pair of clothes for each day of non-ihram. I don't do that. I will have, for example, the clothes that I'm wearing that can last me 2 days. But the undergarment is something that I can easily wash and dry up because all it has is perspiration. So, but there is laundry services available in the Mecca and Medina hotels. And the turnaround should be good, but you should ask the hotel as to what the time is. Do men sleep in ihram at Kidana Towers on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah? If you are going to be in the state of ihram, you will be sleeping in the state of ihram in Kidana Towers on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. You'll also be in the state of ihram. If you wanted to stay the night in Muzdalifa, you'll be sleeping in the state of ihram in Muzdalifa as well. We'll be in Medina early in the morning. Will we have a room, or do we have to wait until 5 p.m.? If you're coming in on the day your checking in begins, then expect that the room will not be available. We will give you accommodation. Basically, we'll give you a place for you to leave your belongings, refresh yourself, and go to the haram, spend some time there until the room is available. We'll try our best to speed it up, but don't expect the room to be available if you're coming in the morning on the day of arrival, that the room will be available right away. We're flying from DC straight to Jeddah. This means we have to change to the ihram in the plane. How feasible is that? You're flying from DC to Jeddah in Saudi Airlines. I've already covered it. Another question. Then there's a place in the back of the aircraft for the men to change. The women do not have the place to change. They will be wearing their ihram garments, whatever they're wearing from home, and they will enter into ihram in that garment. My flight stops at Riyadh for a few hours and I go to a different terminal to get different flight to Medina. Would you say I should take my charge bag and claim it? No. If your flight stops in Riyadh and you go to a different terminal and they are checking in your luggage all the way through to Medina, then you will check your luggage all the way through to Medina. From an international carrier that you're using to go to Saudi Arabia, even if it stops in Riyadh or stops in Jeddah, your check-in destination for your luggage is your final destination in Saudi Arabia. If our flight is leaving on the evening of the 12th of Dhul Hijjah, do we perform Rami and Tawaaf al-Wada around Fajr? I don't think anybody's leaving on the 12th of Dhul Hijjah. They're leaving early morning of the 13th of Dhul Hijjah, in which case you will perform your Rami in the morning and make Tawaaf al-Wada and head to the hotel in Jeddah before you proceed to the airport. The bus not showing up on Eid day morning in Muzdalifa increased my anxiety. Is there a plan for having a backup train tickets? Sister Amina, the train tickets are for those who have camps near the railway tracks. For those who are further away, it doesn't make sense to actually have them walk to the train station. So there will be no train per se as such. I'd rather tell you what to expect so you can plan it, even though it might increase your anxiety. They not tell you that. So that's the reason why I've mentioned it, that I can see, given that my experience, that we will try to get the buses in, but I can see the possibility that that being the day of Eid and everybody's heading to Mena, that the way they control the traffic, that the buses may not be able to get in there after those who are staying till Fajr, and you may have to walk. I don't think there is any other alternative solution to that other than the trying to get a best to get the bus in there. So I'd rather you be prepared for that. Can Purell alcohol wipes be used during ihram?
I'm sorry, Brother Azhar, can I interrupt here?
Sure.
So yeah, so Jazakallah khair, Brother Azhar, for setting that expectation. So brothers and sisters, again, you're in Muzdalifa, you're going to Mena. This is always something that is going to happen or possible to happen, right? While it increases your anxiety, this is something that we should always, not hope that happens, but expect that it might happen, inshallah. But everyone around you is planning to make sure that it's the smoothest it can be, right? The Saudi Hajj and Umrah team will insist and say, no, we'll make sure we get the buses, or if they leave, we're going to try to get them back. But we always have to set the expectations and plan for that. But again, there's always alternatives and there's always solutions. Those that, their anxiety would be at a high and feel that they might not be able-bodied or healthy enough to be able to take that 45-minute walk, then of course there is that rukhsa, the permissibility of you leaving after midnight, inshallah. Right, Brother Azhar?
Yes, women, children, elderly, sick, weak are allowed to leave. The Prophet ﷺ sent his wives in the middle of the night. And so you're allowed to leave in the middle of the night. There is nothing wrong with it. Your Hajj is just as complete, right? And so you can leave in the middle of the night if you fall into that category. That rukhsah has been given to you. Again, you can speak further with your sheikh when you have the fiqh session. And you can speak further when you meet them over there to have this question again answered and make the decision based on that. You don't have to make the decision now as such, but you are given the permissibility. Able-bodied men, of course not. Of course, if the able-bodied men happen to be a mahram for the women traveling with him, then he should go with them as such. Again, this question can be asked of the sheikh and you can decide based on that. I'd rather set the expectation. I don't want to paint a rosy picture with 2.5 million people walking in one direction with multiple roads clogged up because of transportation. I have been on a bus that traveled 1 kilometer an hour. I've left Arafat at 6:30 after Maghrib, and I showed up in Muzdalifa at 2 o'clock in the morning. That is what happens. So I want you to have that understanding that there is nothing you can do about it. Just be patient, engage yourself in dhikr. You will be exhausted. Keep hydrated. We will and continue to do the best that we can given the circumstances. I'd rather that you prepared for this thing than throw a surprise at you last minute. I'm sorry, the buses can't make it. This has happened quite frequently, that those who are taking the bus to Muzdalifa, if the bus doesn't stay with them and says, I'll show up in the morning, then I would say a good percentage of the time they are not able to come back in the morning because the traffic is one way. They cannot go all the way back towards the Arafat direction and come back and join. It's just absolutely not possible. You're basically, barely traveling as such, which is why I think some people ask the question, hey, can I not walk from Arafat to Muzdalifa? Because they're aware that's what the traffic is all about as such. So that's what I meant by I'd rather set the expectation with you. And so you will travel very lightly. That backpack over your shoulder is all you've got. And then so you don't have to worry about it. Maybe you have an umbrella with you and enough water to hydrate yourself, and just early in the morning before the sun comes up, you're walking and you should be there 45 minutes, 50 minutes. If you're not able to walk, if you have health issues, or if you're weak, or you were okay, but you became that in Arafat, then leave in the middle of the night. You have been given the rukhsah. But make sure you're confident if you leave in the middle of the night. So ask the sheikh about that and feel comfortable that you're doing the right thing.
And Brother Azhar, just in case for individuals saying, well, how come you can't still, maybe try to get me a train ticket, right? Like, so maybe there's sometimes individuals will start thinking, well, maybe there's a better solution. Why didn't you guys think of that, right? Well, just to give you an idea, the Muzdalifa train station that's closest to where you're going to be in Muzdalifa is 4.2 kilometers, which is essentially 1 hour, right? So remember, brothers and sisters, we're always thinking of, and we're working with the service providers and everyone on 4 things, right? These are the 4 prongs that we'll always look at. A, the rules. B, your safety. 3, your practicality, and then 4th, your comfort and convenience for you, right? So if the rules work and operate in our favor, we make sure that the practicality and comfort is there. So comfort and then practicality, even we loop it around. Consider it a flow chart. If something is not possible as a rule, we go back and find another solution. If it follows the rules, then we go next to safety. If safety works out, then we move on to practicality. And if there is practicality, then we move on to make sure that it's comfortable for you. So there is a flow process for everything and an idea in terms of when we find solutions, plan A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth.
Jazakallah khair. Just to give you an idea, if Mina is a valley, right? The train tracks are all on one side, right? And if you happen to stay somewhere away, it's not a matter of Google Maps telling you it's 4.2 kilometers. It's a matter of 4.2 kilometers going through everybody else that's there in between you, right? So it doesn't make sense to actually go over and walk over to the train station because the facility they have is that far away. So it's just a bus ride or a walk, basically. Hopefully the bus will show up. Hopefully you'll be able to go on the bus. But if you're asking me, can I guarantee it? I'd rather tell you what the reality is. And then I tell you based on past history that, I would say a great percentage of the time, because it's one way, you've been dropped off here, the bus has gone on. For the bus to come around, they can't come back this road. They have to go all the way around. And there's a whole traffic behind you. How in the world can you get there? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So we'll work with the Hajj service providers and we'll know better when it's closer to that time. Can puerile alcohol wipes be used during ihram? What if they have a scent? Any sanitizer that you want to use, read the ingredients. If it says perfume or fragrance on it, don't use it during ihram. If my wife is leaving Muzdalifa after midnight, would I be leaving with her as well while still not being in the category of excused? Yes, you can leave with her because you are her mehram. So she should travel with the mehram. If you want to get further information and comfortable with this answer, or maybe you want to let her go, she's in the company of other women, then I would rather that you actually have the question asked in the fiqh session and you make sure that you feel comfortable whatever you decide by asking the sheikh. After Eid, will there be buses that take us to the haram for salat from Kidana? So the whole purpose of being in Mena is that you spend your time in Mena and you offer your salah in Mena. There is no point in going to the haram for the salah in Mena when you are in Mena. The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to perform salah in Mena while you're in Hajj. Not that you have to go there and pray salah because it's 100,000 times better. And then you come back to Mena. That is not the whole idea and the design behind Hajj. Let me tell you something that people probably don't know this, and I like to mention it, right? The Prophet ﷺ performed only one Hajj, and he left Medina on the 24th of Zulqa'dah in the state of Ihram, and with him was about 122, 125,000 people. And it took him 9 days. He arrived in Makkah on the 4th of Zulhijjah, 4 days before Hajj began. He arrived after 9 days walking and riding with those people. And he came in and performed Umrah and he stayed in Makkah. Right? And on the 8th of Zulhijjah, he went to Mena when the Manasik began. How many times while he stayed in Makkah those 4 days did he went to the Haram to pray? How many times would you think he went for the Haram to pray? 0. He prayed where he stayed in Makkah. He was in Makkah. He stayed and he prayed where he was in Makkah. Look at the wisdom behind it, right? Give everybody else the opportunity. So he prayed where he stayed and he went straight to Mena, then to Arafat and Muzdalifa, and then he came to the Haram for Tawaaf Al-Ifadah. So when you are in Mena, you pray in Mena as such, okay? I am an SV Platinum A3. I purchased my own ticket, which is separate from the group flight. I already confirmed my ticket with Sister Maheen. My question, will someone assist me in Medina to hotel once I complete my immigration? I'm also arriving earlier at 4 p.m. in Medina. Will I get the room or will I have to wait for the rest of my group arriving? So, sister, if you have already given the information to Maheen with your ticket information as to which flight you're coming in, then there will be someone to meet you at the airport and to take you to the hotel when you arrive. Now, if you're coming in at 4 p.m., chances are by the time you get to the hotel, it'll already be about 6 or 7 p.m. And so your room should be ready, inshallah. Those are the questions, Brother Ahmed. Jazakumullahu khair. Brothers and sisters, I hope that this was of benefit to you, both in every way that we've tried to present this thing. It will slowly gel in. The whole idea behind sharing this with you is to give you the things to consider and what to take, not to take. Also the environment, the weather, the temperature, the amount of walking that you may have to do. So I want you to be able to feel comfortable in knowing the logistics associated with your trip. And to complete that other aspect of your trip will be understanding the fiqh associated with that. So do attend your fiqh session. We will continue with the same 2 tracks. Somebody to be there with you, your guide, to continue with your guidance on the logistical aspects, and you'll have the sheikh to continue the guidance on the religious aspects. You'll have this all the way till the end of your trip. So Jazakumullah khair for attending. The recording inshallah will be made available for viewing tomorrow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all to gain his pleasure, grant us his trip safely to his house, to accept the Hajj and our du'as, and return home safely to our family and loved ones. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.